just ended up with a first warning, which is absolutely mad. But anyway,
yeah,
couldn't do anything.
I guess more importantly, you got some key lessons that you can learn and take out from this.
Oh yeah,
experience.
definitely. It make sure your policy is in line with your standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
I wonder how people have got the audacity to stay though. You know,
on the 25th of February, that wasn't very long ago.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Mary.
Oh, not since the job.
Morning. How are you?
Oh, okay.
Morning, Mark. Mary, you in the office today?
Yes, I am with a couple of colleagues actually. So yeah, that's amazing actually because one of them I haven't seen for about 4 months.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing to have the big screen rather than my diddy laptop.
That's it. Yeah, and you're not kind of just got your iPad on your lap or whatever it is. That's makes it a lot easier. Pedro, good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Neil. Morning, everyone.
You made it on time. I was kind of just about to send your, kind of apologies and the fact you might be running a bit late and you're still in the mash tun or did you fly out or whatever.
It was more organising schoolwork and breakfast and stuff like that.
Was it? Yes. Yeah.
Although I'm going to eat my porridge while we're on this, so.
Multitasking as well. Very good. Yeah. Everything okay with you?
Me, sorry?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, know that one.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, it is what it is. Mark, good morning. How are you?
Crack on.
Oh, I think Mark's still connecting to the audio. Can you hear us, Mark? We can't hear you, but we can see that you're talking away there. So to remember that we got Mark G as well, just to differentiate the two. Just want to bring a Mark. So might have to give you another name, Mark G.
Yeah, no problem at all. Bond.
We can certainly give you the name Bond. Yeah, Brooke Bond, Hazelden Bond. Which particular Bond? Or James Bond.
Oh, I'll stick with James or Bond, or put both together might be a bit too much.
All right. You're now by default now going to be James. Yeah. Or for those who have an affinity with Welsh beer, and Pedro will like this, the Reverend James.
Oh.
Mm.
The Reverend
Is it another way of saying Mark in Welsh?
You just say it with a bit more gusto.
Give us an example.
Mark.
Okay, we'll go for that.
Yeah. It's very Gallic and Gaelic together.
Yeah. So I've got David Hall just did say he might be running a few minutes late. I'm assuming Richard's going to be joining us and Roberts, but what we will do, we will go ahead and just do the good news and check in, and hopefully as we do that, we are good to go. Just also welcome Wendy on the call today. She's going to join us for the first bit. Quite a few of you will know Wendy. She's our finance director. Also happens to be the boss of our company as well. So she's kind of that. I think a few of you know her, but just wants to come just join for the first hour or so, just to get a feel for what it's like. And we may well over the next couple of sessions have more of a focus on cash as well. So in that stage, Wendy can give everybody more of an up like that. I think I'm right in saying, Teresa, you've done a bit of work with Wendy after one-to-one, looking at cash flow story and
Yes.
a follow up on that, and hopefully that's something that we'll definitely talk about. You're all able to access this wonderful software where we can put your numbers in, and it kind of, whether you're a finance genius or someone who's just coming to terms with your numbers, it helps make sense of your P&L and your balance sheet. So welcome, Wendy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Wendy. Or
Hey, Wendy.
in our case, not cash flow story.
Soon to be cash flow story. Soon,
It
yeah,
better be.
aspiring to have cash flow story. Very good, excellent. I tell you what, while we're just going through this, can someone just be kind enough to ping on the WhatsApp group, Rob and
Owen as well.
Richard, yeah. There's a David. I think he said he's going to be running a bit late, but someone could just ping those other two for me. That would be.
Owen's just sent a message on it as well, just to say he's running 5 minutes late.
Who said that?
Owen.
Okay. All right. Yeah, of course, there's Owen as well. Yeah. So yeah. So just anyway, let's start off. And again, given it is the week for the Welsh this week, St. David's Day. It's actually National Book Day as well today. So with reference to all my friends behind, they're all celebrating National Book Day today. So Mark, or James, I should say. Good news and check it from your perspective.
I'd like to raise my coffee cup to Rishi yesterday, who delivered us a nice slice of good fortune. For as a reminder, owning a travel company, we're all very much aware of what you cannot do more than what you can do. We're desperately hoping that come the middle of May, the news on international travel will loosen a little bit, although it looks like the number of countries might be restricted to what you can count on two hands. So we've still physically written off most of 2021 as a damage limitation exercise.
Yeah.
But what that's given us yesterday was a little bit of renewed vigor. I take a lot of my news from sort of the Guardian or the Times, really, and even they got it wrong with the budget forecast. And to be able to go right through until September is giving us a real boost to chop down the overheads. And then in other news, we've gained an official license for official travel agent for the world's fourth biggest sporting event, which is the Rugby World Cup, and that's gone on sale for a tournament that's happening in 2.5 years' time. So it really is a tale of two halves in sporting contests. It's on this financial year, it's an absolute disaster, but we're having to spend money and be very creative on something that's happening a long way in the future. So I tend to split my days in two, dealing with the chaotic stuff in the morning, and then once I've had 3 or 4 coffees go through the system, and then a nice bit of lunch. Then it's very proactive afternoons and finishing on a high. So very much a morning and afternoon regime here.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of Pedro's Tiny Rebels should help as well.
Excellent.
No problem. You know where I am, Mark. You know where I am.
Yeah, I think so. I think I know where you are. Yeah, I'm going to go for a run this evening, so I'm going to take in a bit of Little Eaton just to map out where you are. So when the rules open, I'll be crashing through that door.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we can have a business meeting anytime you want, mate. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I've actually vowed not to touch a drop of alcohol from back at the end of last year until the rules change. So
Okay.
that's going to be a lot of pent up frustration. So I hope you got a big padlock on it, because I'm
Good stuff.
Great stuff. I think it is really encouraging, and I think just watching the budget yesterday, I think for SMEs in the large and those who really struggle, there's a glimmer of hope. So well done to Rishi. Raise a glass to him, or a pint of shining beer. Mark, can you?
Morning, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank God, I thought I was going to have to get my IT team down here. Morning everyone. Good news this week is that I've come to a deal with my best motor racing team that I've been working with, and they've paid me a lot of money this week, which is good. And that's a bit of a relief actually, because when you first deal with people on a big order, and I was thinking, are they going to pay me properly? They have. So I'm just wondering what to turn the money into now.
All right.
I'm thinking of having a
good session today. We'll give you plenty of food for thought on that as well. So good, thank you, Pedro. As you're eating your porridge.
Yes. I'm still here. That's my good news. And what did I do? I've not really done anything. I've been working constantly. I've been like a busy fool, I think, just doing stuff. But this weekend I've got to do VAT returns and accounts for one of my other companies. So that's got to do payroll as well. Yeah, just boring stuff. Boring stuff. Still here. But I'll join Mark in toasting Rishi. He's my hero. He's my absolute hero. If if without the furlough scheme, all my businesses would have gone on there last year straight away. Not a problem.
Yeah.
So at least they're it's given my business and other people's businesses security and hope for the future. That's always a good thing. They've not got any complaints with that. There are a lot of other countries that wouldn't have supported businesses as well as they would do. It's every week that goes along, it's another week towards pubs open and freedom. So that's what we want.
You got it. Good to hear. Mary.
Right. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, lovely. So I suppose good news wise, I agree with everybody. The Chancellor's thing yesterday, I think he did give a shot in the arm to a lot of SME businesses. I think that it's a budget to encourage businesses to invest. The tax stuff, I mean, everybody, not moaning about it, but a lot of people realise that obviously we've got to pay it back, but we don't have to pay it back straight away, it allows the economy to get going. And the furlough scheme, once again, I think that's, to have it extended and give that assurance to businesses, it means that, they don't have to, at the end of March, suddenly think, right, that's it, and make a snap decision to get rid of staff when they don't need to. Good news from my perspective is just that my team and myself, we have been picking up some more jobs, which is great, and these are companies that have been not doing brilliantly, but they've been doing okay. And then what's really encouraging is that there's quite a lot of companies that want to recruit, and there's a big strong pipeline coming through. So I think that's very encouraging, and encouraging for you guys as well to know, because I think it shows that the economy is ready to pick up really quickly. And finally, I suppose it's nice to be back in my office after about 4 or 5 months. So and no kids threatening to wander into the room every 5 seconds. So all good my end.
Good to hear. Thanks, Mary. Teresa.
Cheers.
Yeah, agree with what everybody said with regards to the budget. We've probably got a bit of a different take on it because of the corporation tax. But hey ho. So a couple of good things. One is obviously we own a rather large office building that we actually occupy, but we've also got lots of tenants as well. And we've actually broke our target for virtual tenants. We've now got 82 virtual tenants. So it seems to be that people are moving out of office spaces elsewhere, but actually taking up virtual tenancies, which like I say, we're getting a bit of a boom on at the minute. So that's good on that side of the business. And on the construction side, we usually have a very big corporate get together where we usually have probably about 160, 170 employees at. Obviously, we couldn't do it this year. So we did an awards ceremony online, and I've now been, and it is good, I've been roped into doing an audience with for all the employees to give them an update of where we were sort of last year, what's happened, where we're going, etc. So I've now got 16 virtual meetings with between 10 and 12 employees in each one. And I'm doing 16 of them over a week and a half. Brilliant. So it's going to be pretty intense, but and there's questions and answers as well. So I'm sure I'm going to get absolutely grilled with regards to what's happening with the company. But it is good. It shows you can still do things.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just remind me, what's a virtual tenant?
Virtual tenant, obviously we've got this building and we've got lots of little startup businesses which we support as well in the building. I think we've probably got about 20 of those that are actually in the same building as us. But then the virtual tenants, it's people that want an address and want the administration support.
Yep.
So, but they don't actually want the office space. Usually we convert quite a few of the virtual tenants into actual tenants. When a small space becomes available, we've usually got somebody that will take it. But we do a lot on the virtual tenancy. And obviously people have been giving up their office space, you know, but they still want a business address and that administration support. So that's what we offer.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Owen, welcome.
Hi everybody, sorry I'm late. Can you hear me okay?
Good news and check-in.
Good news. Yeah, it really doesn't seem like 2 weeks. How has it been 2 weeks? Good news, things are still going really well. Things are going to plan. Pushing hard. No bad news, I guess, is how I'd frame it. Yeah, sorry, not one thing's jumping out into my head right now.
Right. Well,
yeah,
you got the team 2 sort of hoodie on anyway. So.
Oh yeah. Representing, believe. Of course. Yeah, that's for life.
Very good. Yeah, I think everyone wearing your pride. So thanks for that. Right, who are we going to go to now? Chloe, now that we're all starting to get into your tribe, as it were, it's all good news.
Oh gosh, well, it's got to be good news that I would turn up to a call and 4 people are in a DIS hoodie, isn't it? So that's a great start. Thank you. Good news for us, business-wise, we've had a real breakthrough with an athlete that's been really struggling with body image issues and a bit of an eating disorder that we've had to kind of work through. It's taken quite some time, but we've had a really, really good breakthrough this week, and she's definitely on the mend, which is awesome. Personal wise, you know, I couldn't be more happier that my house is going to be empty next week with the schools going back. My husband will be out of my hair. And, you know, I might just even take a day just to sit and have a glass of wine in my house in the daytime just to celebrate. Because, so yeah, I'm pretty excited about next week.
Very good. Excellent. And then Robert.
Hi.
Good morning.
Are you all right?
Yes. How are you? Good news?
Good news. I'm in the office today. So that's always good. But can't really think of anything in particular. Every day above ground's a good day, isn't it? So
yeah, your hair's looking good, Robert.
Oh God, I booked in. That's a bit of good news. The hairdresser to get my ears lowered, as Neil Kiston say. But generally everything in business is good at the minute. So.
Good to hear. Excellent. Richard, welcome.
Hi everyone. Yeah, so it's the end of the month, so we've got our employee awards, and for the 83rd month running, I've won Employee of the Month, which is good. We've got plenty of new business, which is good, including our first dashboard sale.
Very good. And
best of all, we've been accepted, following a thorough vetting process, to be a bronze sponsor of the Derbyshire Institute of Sport.
Yay!
Amazing. Fantastic. I'm surprised you got in, though. I mean,
well, it was tough. I had to do a modern pentathlon. It's not easy during lockdown, but never mind.
Yeah.
My horse couldn't fit in the lounge.
Yeah. Oh dear. Just before I go on to David, you were obviously in the spotlight last time. Are there any ideas or any of the sort of thoughts that came from the team that you've been able to implement or move forward since we were together a couple of weeks ago? Richard?
Sorry, I didn't catch my name there. Yeah, well, I've not done anything practically have done a lot of thinking though. So we're developing the products along the lines that we spoke about. But I must say that the business as usual has been so busy.
Yeah.
I suppose the big thing was getting this first dashboard off the ground, which in fairness, we were talking to the guys before the meeting 2 weeks ago, but that's all progressed really well. And we've actually since put about 3 other quotes in. So I don't think a lot's changed in what we've done, but certainly a lot's changed in our thinking. So I'm very pleased. Thank you.
Brilliant. Morning, David.
Hey, morning Neil, morning everyone. Yeah, my apologies for being a little late, but I am with you. So positives from, how fast does 2 weeks go? I mean, obviously left the call last week and now it's 5 minutes since, and everything's been on fire since. Probably the biggest positive is this hoodie, which is great. So I've got the hoodie. Thank you very much. So we closed another enterprise. That's happened. We've got them to sign, which is really good, and 2 more in the pipeline look positive as well. That's pretty positive.
Brilliant. Who have you closed for another enterprise, David?
Yorkshire Water.
Wow, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Water's very important to sustainability. You need to look after the water if you're sustaining a planet.
Yeah. That's a brilliant thing. And from your perspective, is there anything you've taken forward from being in the hot seat a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, there were some great ideas in there. They've all been fed into the melting pot of ideas, and like I said, 2 weeks has happened in about 5 minutes. So yeah, insane. We've also had 2 new starters this week as well, quite senior hires, which is good. So that's taken up some time. Positive.
That's really positive. Yeah, what those hires brought in to do?
So we've now got both senior, we've got a head of professional services now, and we've got a new service delivery manager as well. Really experienced couple of people.
Fantastic. Really, really great to hear that. And I think
just reminded me to welcome them on LinkedIn. That's what I need to do later. Very
good. Couple of thoughts from my perspective. Also delighted to have the hoodie as well, and similar to Richard, actually being given the green light that we can also become bronze sponsors as well. So, but I had a different feel about how high the bar was, and I'm going to have a rethink now on this whole area. So that's fantastic. Secondly, really good to hear that the D2N2 LEP are going to continue this peer network, and the government is also planning to extend peer networks from the end of March. This is a pilot at the moment. So fingers crossed we're in a position to tend to deliver more of these, but I think if anyone wants to continue on this one, then we'll find out a bit more about how that works out over the coming weeks. So that's really positive. So with that, all that good news and check-in, today we've got 2 businesses that we're going to have featured in the spotlight. First up, Chloe from Derby Opportunity Sport, really in terms of how do I successfully sell sponsorship, and then we'll have a break after that, and then I'm really looking forward to this one as well, as Chloe's developing a marketing campaign for the e-coffee opportunity. So I think that's going to be fascinating, some of the ideas that would come out from that. And then if we have time, very much in line with the topic of marketing, I guess to introduce you to a concept from the Scaling Up book around the 7-strata strategy, which really talks to a marketing strategy as well. So let's close down that, bring that, and put Chloe right into the spotlight for today's session. And remember, once Chloe's articulated her challenge, then an opportunity just to clarify and seek to understand what it is as the challenge before we get into the actual masterminding or the action learning itself. Again, just questions, have questions at hand, rather than the inclination just to start solving the problem straight away. Let's just make sure we're really clear about what it is that the challenge that Chloe has. So, Chloe, over to you.
Thank you very much. So I think it was, I've got loads of challenges within my business, loads. My background is as an athlete, and that's why I set DIS up to support young athletes. That's really where my passion is and where all my knowledge is about developing athletes. But to support the development of athletes, we have to do fundraising and sponsorship and different ways to obviously support the cost for them, because the costs are extortionate. So we put together a sponsorship package. I've spent a long time over the past kind of 7 or 8 years listening to kind of what people want from sponsorship. So we've come up with a package that includes everything from CSR, PR opportunities, and more recently a whole health and wellbeing package. So you know, people can get access to monthly lunch and learn webinars, a weekly exercise class, access to our physio, our nutritionist, psychologist, etc., because we just feel it's our responsibility that if people are supporting us, that we should support them back with health and wellbeing. So I'm relatively confident with what our package is, but my real challenge is, how do I go out and sell it on a big volume? The smallest package starts at £500, which is literally, people can pay £40 a month. And our biggest package is still only £5,000. All of the money goes directly back in to support athletes. It's not like, you know, you sponsor a football club and, you know, you've no idea where that money's gone. You would directly see the difference, you know, and for Neil and Richard that have already sponsored 500, I was saying to Neil last night, you know, £500 is 10 physio treatments. So, you know, that's a huge thing for us. So yeah, so my question is, how can I go from a small target that I've got of just trying to sell 15 lots of £500 to, you know, 100 or more?
Brilliant. Thanks very much. So let's open up through a few questions again, just to seek to understand at this stage before we get into the masterminding and the problem solving.
If I can ask a question of Chloe, so of the ones the larger packages, the larger sponsorship packages you've sold, what is the demographic of that business, would you say, Chloe? I mean, because that's what you want to replicate, isn't it? So what's worked really well with those ones in particular?
I think that's where I'm actually struggling, because all of our sponsors are incredibly different. So if I give you our 3 kind of gold sponsors, we've got Docklands, which is a sort of a firm that helps charities. We've got Rally, the cycle company, and we've got a company called YTech, which is an IT company. So you've got those at gold level, and then even within the bronze level, you've got people that are, you know, a small yoga, one woman kind of industry, through to PricewaterhouseCoopers being a bronze sponsor. So, you know, there isn't really, I've been looking at that, you know, what is the pattern of our sponsors, and there isn't really one.
Excellent. Owen?
2 quick questions. What is the target? I think you just mentioned 14 at a certain level. I missed the level. And then do you have a hit list as such of people of companies that you would like to be sponsors?
So target wise at the moment, we're looking for 15 to be on bronze. I think it's 10 for silver and 5 for gold, something like that. But it just depends a little bit, because some people like Rally, for example, they give us $2.5 grand in cash and then give us $2.5 grand's worth of bike, so it doesn't work out exact. And what was the other question, Owen? Sorry. Oh, the target list. Yeah, we're always developing that target list, but it literally can be anyone. And at the moment, you know, it's a lot of it is just through who do we all know, you know, everybody in the company, who do we know, who do we meet, who do we come along, you know, hence my pitch to some of you guys to help me. But, you know, it's not the right way, really. You know, I don't enjoy selling sponsorship particularly. So I'm just trying to create a model that kind of isn't just oh, hi, I'm Chloe. Oh, by the way, do you fancy having a look at our sponsorship package? You know, it's just not really. Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Mark? just want to come off mute.
Sorry. IT is taking me over today. Morning, Chloe.
Morning.
Morning. Yeah, just a quick thought. You mentioned companies, that he's looking for sponsorship from companies. I've got two friends that get sponsorship. One of them works for I think it's Salvation Army. I think so. And they actually get a lot of people, a lot of individuals sponsoring. That's I think what she does actually is she gets like a little bit of a party going for people that are well heeled, gets them in, gives them cups of tea and cake, and then people give them money, which is great, really. But I'm just wondering whether that could be a model to look at. Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of people with a lot of money, a lot of thoughts about health, so it might not be necessarily all company biased.
yeah, thanks, Mark. And we do some stuff for individuals for sure. So we run like a Barbados charity bike ride event every year, which obviously encourages individuals. But we've not really, I mean, we have had some individuals, and we've got one now, a guy that's just decided to sponsor us just because he loves what we do. But yeah, I'll definitely put it down as we've not really specifically created a package for an individual to sponsor us, if you know what I mean. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's I've got another friend as well, and he's got a really good platform, and he does something similar to Just Giving.
Yeah.
But what he does is the benefactor receives 100%, because I think Just Giving, I'm a bit out of my depth here actually, but I think Just Giving, they actually take a percentage.
Take a fee. Yeah.
Yeah, but he does it in such a fashion that the benefactor gets 100% of it, which is really good. And I think that's a really good thing to say, because sometimes if you're giving money, you don't 100% know where it's going. I'm not saying that's the case in your instance, but maybe but maybe for confidence it might be I'll give you his details. I'll send you his details. He's worth talking to. He's a really nice guy actually. He's done this, and he's getting big companies now actually putting, giving a lot of money, and the benefactor gets 100%. So
brilliant.
I'll send you a link to his LinkedIn thing, and then he's called Phil, and he's really good.
Thank you.
Might be something to take there.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pedro.
Hi, Chloe.
Hello.
So can you go, you mentioned like a health and well-being package. You give that to the people who sponsor you as an extra benefit. What are the benefits are you giving to sponsors? Can you kind of list them out? What sort of range of things do they get for their sponsorship?
Yeah. Am I able to share the screen?
Yeah, I was going to say, put the table up. Put the table up, Chloe.
Yeah.
Should be able to.
Okay. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it starts with kind of CSR. Most important for us, people have got to care that the money's going to athletes. So that's the first thing, and then we send people a really nice letter so that they can kind of prove their commitment to that. We supply people with an email footer so that people can again use it on their emails or on letters. Product promotion. So we do a PDF document that goes to all of our sponsors once a quarter, so that we can kind of say, these are all of our sponsors. If you need any of these services, please choose one of our sponsors as the first point of call. And we also send that to our athletes and parents. Marketing, we've got different tiers of prominence depending on the level that goes on our website. So your logo on the website with a link through to your own website. We're on every single social media channel, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, etc. And given the fact that we work with a lot of young people, our reach on Instagram particularly is huge. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how often, as a minimum, we would mention you in our social media. So then health and wellbeing wise, so every month we run a lunch and learn session. So it's a 30-minute snapshot in the middle of the day, 12 noon to 12:30, and it covers every aspect of health and wellbeing. So once a month you get to meet different members of my team around those various aspects. as I say, we do an online weekly group exercise session. So this is led by a strength and conditioning coach. So the exercises are appropriate for kind of every level of ability. There's progressive and regressive exercises within that. So that happens every Monday at 4:30. And it's not just for the business owner. The idea is for all their team. So the aim really is that you can go away and say to your staff, oh, you know, as part of DIS, we've got this whole health and wellbeing package that you as an employee can now access. So further on from that, we've got our monthly wellbeing check-in discussion group. So that's led by our performance psychologist. I think, you know, there's an appreciation that mental health is at the top of everybody's agenda, but many companies haven't really got the skills to kind of deal and manage that and also prevent it. So that's the role of our performance psychologist going in. Can be quite flexible in terms of what companies do with him. The next two are really physio and nutrition. So you get some free sessions, but then you also get a heavily discounted rate for any further on from there. You know, so you're getting access to our best people. And then also the final one is discount for our team development day. So that's a psychological approach on how to build a high performance team. So it's looking at the social and environmental factors that have an influence on high performance.
Teresa.
Well, thanks, Chloe.
Thank you.
Just ask Chloe, looking at what you've just shared, sort of the bronze, silver and gold.
Yeah.
Do you feel that it covers asking for sponsorship for larger companies? Because I was looking at it and a lot of it is very individual. And I just think, what's the thinking behind of, because obviously if larger companies more larger companies can sponsor you £5,000,
yeah,
it's better than chasing,
yeah,
you know, a lot at 500. So I just wondered, what was the thinking behind what you offer larger companies, probably on that 5,000 bracket, because it seems quite limited for a larger company to be able to say to its employees, right, we're sponsoring this company, this is what you can get, when it's limited to perhaps two or three employees benefiting.
So it's not limited to just 2 or 3 employees benefiting. It's just the case that there's some sessions thrown in for free. So for example, like the physio, let's say, you know, there's 3 initial free sessions. So, you know, you could do a prize draw on that, or that could be taken up by certain people. But then the actual access to the physio at the discounted rate is open to any employees in the business.
Okay, to offer those, that's interesting. So to offer those as a prize draw, have you got marketing material that supports that? So you're not just looking at the gold bit, you're getting, this is what you can actually do with it.
Yeah, so I haven't got it yet, and it's something I was mentioning again to Neil last night. That's the next step, I think, is to be able to supply you with, here's a PDF that you can send around to all your employees that says, this is the offer that you can now access, which then, you know, this is how you access the physio, this is how you access nutrition, get on the exercise classes, this is how you do this, etc., etc. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, because you know, it's changing my interpretation of it, because being in a company that's got 160 employees, I looked at that and thought, that's not for us,
right?
You know, so that's why I said, if you got anything that sort of backs it up, that shows how a larger company can benefit from it and how they would actually use it.
Yeah, I see. So if behind this there was just like that PDF document to show you that this is what you could send to all your employees, so it does have an effect on every employee, that would work, would it?
Yeah, but we're just asking questions at the minute.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Very good. I'm going to bring in Owen and then Richard. There's more questions.
So Chloe, could you explain the team that you've got in place for lead generation, marketing, sales, and then the follow-up with sponsors? In particular, I'm interested to understand a bit more about what it is you mean when you say you don't enjoy selling, and the team around you that you have for that.
Yes, so mainly it's just me. This is my team. This is my marketing team, is me. I do have a BAFTA award-winning writer in my team, so she helps significantly with all the PR. And I do have a student that helps with social media wise.
I'll turn the video off.
So in terms of lead generation, I guess that all the team help with that. You know, it is my role to follow it up and to make sure it happens and sort all those bits and bobs out. But, you know, everyone in the team, we're all committed to where we're trying to get to with DIS, and everybody's committed to helping to do that. So, you know, just because the physio is the physio, he still helps with trying to get leads for sponsorship.
David.
Sorry, the hidden question there. What was it when you say you don't enjoy selling? What do you mean?
Well, I just don't really enjoy asking people for money to help. You know, it's just.
You're in the wrong business then.
Say again, Rob.
You're in the wrong business. If you're in business, you've got to be enjoying. You've got to ask everybody for money.
Well, I think that's why I changed it and put a lot of the health and well-being stuff in, because I don't mind it as much now, because I feel as though we're actually giving people something quite tangible back. So it feels more like a product transaction, which I'm really comfortable with. Whereas before it was kind of just a bit more PR and marketing-y, and it just felt a little bit just like, you know, please can you give me your money? Whereas now, you know, you are getting something back. So I'm a bit happier with that. But it's not the position I want to be in. You know, as we scale up as a company, I wouldn't see myself as the face of the kind of commercial arm of it, if you like.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Richard, David, and then Mary for questions.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, hear you fine.
I've just swapped headphones. Wanted to make sure they were working. Yeah, I was actually going to ask that question about why do you say you don't enjoy selling? So I think we covered that. The next one is, do you have affiliations with all the sports clubs in Derbyshire? Because I've not heard of you through Derby Rugby Club at all.
Yeah, so before kind of last year, we only dealt with individual sports on Olympic and Paralympic pathways. So we didn't do any team sports whatsoever. So it's only within the last kind of few months we started to do team sports. But we do have a huge way to go in terms of developing our kind of brand across all the kind of sports. So one of the things that we're doing is a coach webinar series just to get connection with all the coaches in the clubs. So it's a really cheap way to get some really good information from our experts, and we're just using that as a connection tool, really.
Very great question. David.
Thanks, Neil. Chloe, so just some good questions there. In terms of your total revenue, what percentage is sponsorship today then? Is it, just to give me a picture of it, how important is it?
Oh, it's critical. So yeah, it would be about, just the sponsorship alone would be about 40%.
Okay, what are your other sources of revenue, just out of interest?
So the athletes have to pay towards the services, but obviously it's significantly reduced because of the sponsorship. Then we do fundraising, we do our Barbados event, we sell our own kits, as you all kind of know now. We also, obviously we're always on the lookout for grants. And we normally have a fundraising dinner, but obviously we don't have that at the minute.
Sorry guys, I went off air then. Do you have an affiliation with a gym or a health club where there is a reduction on membership?
Yes, so we're based at Derby Arena.
Derby Arena.
So yeah, that's where we get you know, and one of the things that we want to do in the next 12 months is develop a package for adults, so that we can support kind of age group athletes or even just adult athletes that are committed to wanting, but they would obviously pay for the service at a full price, which would again then help towards kind of the money for younger athletes.
Okay, thank you. And the third question is, you say you don't notice any similarity or commonality across sponsors by business type or business size, but do you see any similarity with the individuals you deal with, the way they think, the way they behave?
Yeah, well, they're all interested in sport. You know, there isn't one. We haven't got one sponsor that doesn't like sport. So that's probably the common ground.
More on that in the follow-up section.
Okay.
Okay.
Mary, and then I think we're pretty much done unless Rob's got. I don't think Rob's asked a question yet. So
I've got a few things.
all right. So Mary, and then Rob, and then we'll get into the masterminding.
Okay, I had 3 questions, Chloe. So first of all, do you have an ambassador affiliate scheme? Now, I know the word affiliate came up with Richard just now, but what I mean by that is, do you have a scheme whereby people can, like people in business generally, who want to support you, maybe have some sort of reward scheme for affiliates, so that maybe, you know, it could be someone like me or somebody else in business who, through the course of their business development, mentioned that, you know, we're trying to support local initiatives, including DIS, and have you heard of them? But it's a different way of making a connection for a business doing a sales call. And I just wondered if you'd actually thought about investigating some sort of affiliate scheme where, if, say, somebody in business was to make introductions and just agree to put you in touch with somebody else. I mean, I do this anyway for some businesses, and it's worked quite well. I don't expect anything back, but it's my way of sort of giving back, if that makes sense. But I'm sure there's a lot of businesses out there, including the people on this group, that would be more than happy maybe to sort of, through the course of business development, just make mention of the fact that actually, we're deeply supportive of such and such. Maybe as a business you can't support, you can't afford to do maybe the gold membership, but this is another way of giving back. But equally, maybe, you know, it could be brand ambassador as a give back if you do manage to secure some new people for your organisation. Maybe you could have a sort of, you know, brand ambassador logo thing that company could put on their LinkedIn or their whatever, and it's free. That's the beauty of it all. It's all free for you and your organisation, but equally you might end up getting some quite big things. So have you got anything like that? That was my first question. I've got another 2 little.
No, never heard of that kind of idea, but it sounds brilliant. So thank you.
Okay, my pleasure.
Obviously all your colleagues on the call as well in your office.
Oh, can you? Right, sorry. I'll just ask these 2 quickly then, all right? And then that'll be it. Do you ever do, Chloe, do you do any newsletters with other corporations? So, for instance, do you offer to put content together for other corporate businesses and their newsletters?
Lovely.
Yeah, so only recently, actually, certainly just recently with PricewaterhouseCoopers and Smithkeeper, they've asked us to put, well, we've asked and they've said yes to us putting kind of some health and wellbeing tips and just a bit of promotion from us on there. So it wasn't something I thought of until last week. So, but yes, I can probably now say, yes, I've thought of it now.
Yay. And my final point was, I know that lots of charities, Treetops, Ashgates, Hospice, they actually have a sort of legacy system so that people in the community, as part of their wills, it sounds a bit morbid this, but actually it's a big, huge revenue stream. Do you have any sort of strategy about trying to sort of capture those sorts of legacy and bequeathment kind of funding for your, you know, for DIS?
Yeah, I'm not actually entirely sure if we can do that, because we're not a charity, we're a community interest company, which kind of sits in that middle space. We can't be a charity because we look after quite elite athletes. You know, it's not just, you know, not any athlete can get onto our programme yet. But so I'm not 100% sure if we legally would be allowed to do that, but I'll definitely check it out.
Great stuff. Rob?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've been just going through all your social medias and stuff, Chloe.
Yeah.
And albeit I'm probably not the best Hodgkinson to advise you on that. There's a person, another Hodgkinson, there's a hell of a lot better at social media than I am, which I think Neil would agree with me on.
Very much so.
It's just obviously you've got to get your name out there a bit more, and looking at your social medias more in looking at it from an Instagram point of view. I mean, it's a massive tool that you've got there, a free tool that you can sort of get your name out on. And I mean, you need to be obviously trying to be a bit more active on those and using hashtags and all that sort of thing. I mean, for example, my better half, all she does is she takes pictures of food, she does all this healthy eating crap, and she's got more followers just of taking pictures of her food than you have. Not that it's a competition, but it's just all she does is sort of, I don't know, she did a bit of a research on hashtags and loops and all this sort of thing, and it got her moving from a social media point of view. I mean, she's far from the fittest person on the planet, and she would say that herself, but she's got, I mean, people that have sort of trying to endorse her and one thing and another, and all she's done is use Instagram as a tool. So I mean, looking at this, you post every 3 or 4 days. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be, I mean, I know it's hard and difficult to think up of something every day, but you need to sort of get it out there and try and ram it down people's throats that what you're doing, to be honest, and sort of as well, like on your social media, you've only got, from what I have only quickly scanned through, you've only got 2 posts, one that you've just done 2 days ago, and then one on the 29th of January of you know, I mean, that you're actually selling t-shirts and obviously doing those sort of things. I'm assuming that's probably not a massive big earner for you, but I mean, if somebody's walking around with the DIS in and around Derby, people start scratching their heads and saying, "What's that?" Same with Hugh, who they've done a really good job of just giving stuff away for free and getting themselves on telly, and that's the way that they've got their name around. And it's one of those, and I do agree with Teresa in the fact that larger companies, all they're really bothered about is corporate social responsibility. Do you know what I mean? They're not really that fussed about, I mean, whether they get some cheaper or free sort of classes or anything like that. Albeit it is a good thing to chuck in the hat, but we're more bothered about how we can get our name out there to be better than the other people, and I hope Teresa would agree with me on that. That's what we try and do. I mean, we pay in our business for, I mean, we're not, because we haven't been able to go to any football matches, but we pay for sponsorship at Derby County, and it costs an absolute fortune, and they give us nothing other than they put his name on a plastic billboard every home game. So it's obviously what is key for you. I know you can sell without selling. Now, I'm obviously not the best person to advise you on that, but you don't need to sell to people if you've got a good product and you've got the right ethos within your business. So I suppose that will come with time. But yeah, I think social media is a massive tool that you've got, and you don't need to be going around knocking on doors. I mean, £2 a month for I don't know what Oxfam do. I don't think you need to do that. Do you know what I mean? You need to possibly try go for the big kills first, and then everything else lower than that is just a bit of a icing on the cake. That's what I would always do. I would always go for the big stuff first. I'd try and sell as many of the £5,000 ones as you possibly can to the bigger companies. I mean, PricewaterhouseCoopers, I mean, they should be hanging their heads in shame giving you 500 quid because they're a humongous company. But I mean, that's just my sort of idea on it. But yeah, like I say, social media is key. I think it will be key for you. So I mean, take a bit of advice from Hugh. If you can get somebody that gets on telly, if you've got elite athletes, get them wearing your kit, get them wearing your jumpers, and because they'll do a lot more than what we have. give them away.
Brilliant. Now that you're full into masterminding role there, Robert, thank you for leading the way now on that. I'm just going to James, I should say. Keep forgetting you've got Depol renamed. Mark James. I'll call you Mark James actually, because sounds like a good Welsh. So, obviously you're in the same sort of spaces. What thoughts have you got?
So, apologies, I had to step away just to take 2 calls So if there's been some crossover, just someone put the hand up and say, "Shut up, we've already had that question." So I missed a couple of people speaking. I enjoyed that from Robert. There, it makes a very salient point there. You know, target big, reduce your workload. You know, chase the angels first, and make your life easier. How obvious is it to people that there are tax benefits to supporting organisations?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know. Loosely, you're not a registered charity. Chloe is from the DS, but is there a bit of grey in there where people can be donating?
Oh yeah, you can definitely still offset stuff to check to CICs off tax for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know whether that is 100% known by every business owner, that it isn't just a pledge from the business. It's it's a tax deductible benefit as well. And does that need to be sort of subliminally into some of the higher level marketing for what, as Robert said, your top angels there that can do that, and maybe just a tiny tweak or a little subtle reminder there that you are going to get some of this back. It isn't 100% donation. It is going to benefit you. And my other one is, do you know about Swish? No, SWYSH has been all the rage during lockdown. They're very, very simple concept. Personalized video messages from sports stars. Okay, it's your birthday next week. You go online, you want to get happy birthday Chloe from maybe not David Beckham, but a number of athletes that are registered. They will get their smartphone out, they'll record a message, they'll upload it to that portal, it gets delivered to you on your birthday, and it's not expensive, and it's been on vogue with everyone stuck where they are, and been a huge success. If locally, these tremendous athletes that you're supporting, and small SMEs who are making that contribution, if that was me doing, I want to know what the athletes are like, and in a Swish style, it'd be great for them to be able to just spend a couple of minutes on recovery time, stretching, just to do a quick video. This is my day, and could that Swish style, where it brings the athlete into the business, become a viable opportunity for you? It's zero effort, it's zero cost, and minimal time, but maximal gain, I think, in a real personal feel for that. And the last one is how much you know about the Kickstarter scheme?
Not a lot.
So the Kickstarter scheme, my story on that is that when it got announced last summer, where the government were introducing this new scheme where 25 hours of the first 25 and 40 hours were going to be paid by the government for the 18 to 24-year-old bracket, we employed somebody on that basis, and when the rules came out in October, it found that you had to have a minimum 30 people to qualify for that. If not, you had to go and find other people and form a group of 30. By this point, I'd already recruited Sam, and then we're stuck with this full wage. So anyway, it's just been announced that that's being scaled down to small businesses. So think of it in this way: your first 25 hours are going to be free. They're a minimum 6-month contract, so you're contributing 15 hours. But if, for example, you could team up with someone like myself who would really benefit that, as a result, I'm looking to take on 3 to 4 Kickstarters, and,
Okay.
and create this almost like mini academy within my business. So it's going to cost me the 60 hours a month for these people working as a quadrant, and I don't think it's enough work for them to be with me for 5 days of the week. So if, for example, they focused on the exact same learnings, so let's use Robert's point there, Instagram. Tuesday is Instagram day, and they do that for DIS, they do it for MSG tools, and etc. So it's a really economic shared pool where you're generating and nurturing the high-end skills needed for each of these business with a fraction of the cost to do. So it's a very collaborative approach for people on this call with minimal cost and maximal gain. And Robert's bang on there. Is that there are certain channels now that are worth their weight in gold, and his other point there is that it's free to use.
Yeah.
it becomes very, very affordable and gives you the maximal gains from it, then surely it's a no-brainer. And I'd love to sort of chat about how we can help you on that.
Definitely. Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
Teresa.
Just Chloe, a couple of things for me, sort of basing it around what we spoke about earlier. Well, one that isn't, which I'll go into now. Have you thought about using a graduate for your marketing?
Yeah, so that's what I've got from the university.
From the university, so
I've
they're
got a graduate,
doing.
and then I went on to sort of employ them because he is so good, just on a part-time basis. Because as I'm sure you know, if you take on a graduate, it's just more of your time to skill them up again.
Yeah,
so
I just wondered about one doing it, as a project, because then you get full dedication. And if you get one that's sports technology or marketing.
That's it. That's what we've got. And we've got a guy now, as I say, that we've taken on, and he's now starting to take on other graduates from the university that are free underneath him. So that system will hopefully just continue.
Okay, when do you hope to see, because going on what Robert said, looking at your social media, when are you hoping that they're going to come to fruition and get you out there?
This week. He started this week, the other graduate. But yeah, I mean, I think it is one of the things I have thought about, potentially we just need to spend some more money on marketing. Whilst the platforms are free, obviously you've got to pay for someone to put content on the platforms.
Yeah.
So, it's not free, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing, which is going back to what we're on about, thinking about it, I'm quite happy to get our marketing stroke IT team, whatever, to push your thing out to all our employees, because we've got a lot of fitness freaks and foodie freaks and whatever. So I'm sure you'd get some take up on the £500 one from our employees. Okay. So if you send me as much as you can, I'll get them to put something together and they can send it out. The second thing is looking at it from a corporate point of view, and this probably hits a bit what Robert was on about. If we, and I'm not saying we can because this isn't my department, I don't know what the budget is, but if we were to sponsor you from a larger company point of view, the benefit that we would get, we wouldn't be interested in what's on your sheet on that gold level.
Okay.
So it needs to be a bit more tailored, as into what can we put out on our hashtags on Twitter. We're on Twitter all the time. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I hate Twitter.
But it'd be linking back to you all the time. So all our clients, all the councils and people like that will see that we're involved with you. And that's a bit like what Robert said. It's getting our name out there, but it's also getting your name out there at the same time. Because people will be saying, oh, Woodheads are sponsoring them, or oh, look what Woodheads have done, and that's helped this athlete. We're more interested in those good news bits that we're helping with, rather than getting free sessions from a company point of view. It's all about what we're doing to help, rather than what we can get out of it. That it sounds horrible, but that pays more dividends to us than getting some free sessions.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it does say sort of a bit further on in the booklet, I think somewhere, that, we are quite flexible in terms of moving stuff around with what's available there, but it's probably not jumping out enough. Do you know what I mean? So if, for example, as a company, you said, well, we'll give you the full 5,000, we don't want the health and wellbeing, but we want way more PR and marketing and all about the CSR stuff, then we have done that with another company, so it perhaps just needs to shout that out a lot more than what it does.
Yeah, and I would say last thing is probably look at doing, and I don't know whether you'd need somebody external to do it. We've done things like double-blind surveys to find out what people actually want, and you could do it on the sponsorship front of who they sponsor and why. And then you can actually tap into it a little bit, because you'd use all that information that you get back. Now, you might have somebody internally that can do that. It's not an easy thing to do. Or you might be able to get some funding to support you actually doing that and get them to target the people that you think you want to sponsor you or you want to be associated with. That's it from me.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Owen Conti.
Cool. So just to add on to that, I think if you can offload stuff from your plate, that's good. That's going to make this whole thing work. And I think listening, you've got an army around you who are young and amazing at what they do. I'd look at your athletes as an extension of your marketing team, you know, so maybe, presumably there's some sort of contract that you have in place with them. If they're paying for the service, they know they're getting the service at a reduced, a subsidized rate. Stick them in DIS kit all the time. Make it part of their contract that if they're going to an event or if they're doing something, they have to wear a DIS logo on them at somewhere. And they have to do at least one social media post a week about their training regime or whatever, and help them set up a DIS_Owen or whatever. So it all links back to the sort of central branding, but get them doing some of the work, because part of the story is, you know, okay, maybe we help DIS. Also, the monthly stuff, I didn't realize I could pay monthly. I didn't realize that was £500 a year, for example. It just wasn't clear to me. So there's that, but also, you know, it's DIS I am helping, yes, but I'm also helping the fastest swimmer under 14. I want to hear about his story or her story, or, you know, that sort of thing. And if they're on Instagram, cool, they already know how it works. Let them do that. And same with the staff, same with the staff and affiliates, you know, working in agreement that they wear DIS gear. Working agreement that they're posting X number of social stuff per month or week, maybe not once a week, depends on their role, but you can then drip feed this stuff out. And that's not you doing it. That's not your BAFTA award-winning writer doing it. You can have them doing other stuff and kind of ratchet them differently, if that makes sense. And equally, like we're all wearing DIS hoodies. We could post stuff. There could be, you know, a hashtag We Are DIS. And we could post stuff for you. It's kind of get us involved, and that's cool too. But I think definitely look to offload that lead generation stuff from your plate, because your power is elsewhere in your organization. You shouldn't be the one posting Instagram posts. You know, you can coordinate it by all means, but your power.
I don't post on any social media. I might do an occasional LinkedIn, me personally, but no, I'm not a great one at that.
And equally, your true value to DIS is not there. You know, so somebody, and as part of that social media campaign can be every now and again they post a sponsors wanted or interested in sponsorship, find out more, and then they get fed into you. You can tell the story about DIS, and you don't have to worry about asking them for money. And equally, looking at your targets, if you do them, I've done the maths, and if I've done it right, if you actually went for 12 gold subscriptions, you wouldn't need to worry about the 15 bronze or 10 silver. So yes, it's more work in a different space, but it's less work overall for more money, if that makes sense. In my head, it makes sense. If it doesn't, shout at me and we can have a chat later. But yeah, that's kind of where my head's at.
Thanks, Owen. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Pedro.
There we go. Right. Two things really. First, touch on it. Have you ever seen like crowdfunding?
Yeah.
A lot of breweries used to do that, and it's, you know, for a specific reason they get it in, but it's all related upon pitching the benefits to people who sponsor you. So it's like a product base, and what you and everyone's touched on it, including yourself. You know, you've got to rephrase the pitch. You're not saying, "Give me some money, please." You get nothing for it. You're saying, "I can sell you these benefits. You know, I can get your name out here. I can get this for you." And this is, you know, you can get this good feeling inside to know you've helped someone. But the main thing, is there a reason why you're advertising and you're sponsoring DIS and not your clients? I'm thinking if you started to pitch them as the product, and you know, you can sell this, I don't know who you've got, you can sell this 16-year-old gymnast and say, right, these are the prospects. You can sell the personal story to that, and people can get involved, whether it's personal sports fans of that sport or gymnastics or rowing or whatever, and can get involved and know that their contribution each month is going towards an individual, and then they can get updates on a weekly or monthly basis, a newsletter, almost like when you sponsor an orangutan or a donkey at the zoo. I mean, no offense to don't take this the wrong way or how crude this is, but you know, you'll get an annual Christmas card or a birthday card saying, here's how I'm doing, this is what I've done, these are my achievements, and a newsletter from that athlete and that individual.
Yeah.
I mean, loads of individuals will go for that, and especially the corporate people, if they know that all their, you know, they can just, it's marketable, it's easy to see what that athlete is doing and their progress. Even if it's a big company, in the newsletter you can say, oh yeah, by the way 150 employees, this is what Steve the gymnast has been up to today, and he's competing in this event, you know, maybe go down and cheer him on. And it's
I think you know, there's quite a big risk in like supporting one individual athlete, because the risk to injury is obviously high when you're competing at a quite high level as well. So, you know, illness, injury could take that athlete out, and then someone's left with, oh well, my athlete's out now, so I won't sponsor you anymore. Also, you know, you could look at the list of 40 athletes and people will all want to pick the same top 10. They won't want the others underneath. So I think I get the point about kind of using athletes, and also, you know, these are young athletes. Most of our athletes are under 18. So there's a whole safeguarding issue around that as well, as that we've got to be careful of now, so more than ever with social media. So, but I do certainly take the point on board about just kind of making some more of those athlete stories a bit more real to people, and kind of selling those actual athletes. And certainly, you know, what we're doing already now is just starting to pull together a brochure that we'll send around to all the sponsors at the end of the year to say, thanks for sponsoring, these are some of the highlights that you've helped us to achieve in the year. So all of our sponsors will get that at the end of this year. But it's not quite like, you know, when the idea for us is to get athletes onto that super elite level. So that's the stage at world class level when they do get picked up by an agent. And that's the point where you can sell an athlete. You know, this is about the progressive development of athletes to get them onto that level. Some of them stay with us when they're on that level. And as I say, they'll be the ones that everybody wants.
It's funny, I was just laughing to myself then, Pedro. I was thinking about pandas, because they all look the same, don't they? I don't know whether I've sponsored the panda that you've sponsored.
Yeah.
Where I suppose if you're doing an athlete, you know, and you sponsor one and I sponsor, and then I go, hold on a minute, I thought I was paying for them.
But you don't have to hypothecate it in like every single penny that I pay for athlete X goes towards athlete X. It just means you get the updates of that person a bit more, and you can get other updates of saying this is what, you know, F and G are doing as well. So that's and then I mean, putting that back to the to like the crowdfunding thing, you know, when you put some money in, you get, you know, you'll get a birthday card or you'll get an update of this, and you can tailor it to certain athletes and they'll let you know what they're doing, or you get a free ticket to one of the tryouts, or you get an update and things like that, rather than it's just a one-way transaction. And they know they're getting the extra services as well.
No, definitely. I can't be doing the kind of just one-way transactional stuff. I have to get something back, I think. Okay, thank you.
Just, I mean, you mentioned this Barbados. What is that?
So it's a charity bike event that we do every year. So the first year it was like Dean from Hube and his mates went to Mallorca, and then we had a challenge back here in Derbyshire, people to ride the distance of Mallorca. Last year we did it kind of a bit more online because of COVID, so we just challenged everybody to run to ride a certain distance, and then they either got a medal or a t-shirt or Starbucks vouchers, or Rally gave us some water bottles, those sorts of things. So this year we're looking to do it in kind of June, July time. And one of the things that was successful is we asked lots of local businesses to put in 100 quid, and for that they'd get the name on the back of the t-shirt, and that generated a huge amount in comparison to kind of the rest of it, which was really helpful. So
that's really good. That's really good, and that's something that you really need to shout about, whether you get it like in the paper or social media. Like Pedro said, in terms of the athletes, you need to be shouting from the hilltops who you're working with. I don't know, if it's under 18, I don't really know the safeguarding thing. That's not really, I don't really know anything about it, so I'm not going to. Surely, there's loads of people that put stuff on in the papers and on social media for under 18s. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be done. It's just that I couldn't link you, for example, you personally, to one of our 14-year-old girls. It just wouldn't work.
No.
Even if he is the next best gymnast. Do you know what I mean? So.
But you can link Hodgkins.
Yeah, I can do it.
You can link Hodgkins and Builders to that gymnast, and or you just. It's, you don't need to. From more a corporate. From us as a business, we're not in terms of directly, we're not really that bothered if we help one person. It's the whole, it's the thing whole. So you maybe need to, I don't know, have a team photo of all the athletes that you've got and say, do you know what I mean? Thank people for it. Do you know what I mean? For obviously these are the people you've supported throughout this financial year or whatever. But you just need to get like on social media and everything, like just do a post a week of who you're currently working with from a sporting point of view. Do you know what I mean? What they've done since starting with you and where they are now. Do you know what I mean? When they started, they couldn't walk, and now they're running to the moon and back and all that sort of thing. And it's just getting it out. It's just getting it out there.
Yeah.
Like I say, Ian, I think he is here, but he's mad for it, and he'll jump on anything to do with that we can get your name out for social media. And like I say, Twitter and Instagram and all that, I'm not the best person to go to, but like you say, if you can get yourself into Derby University, there'll be somebody that can just work on it for a day, and they can give you 20-30 posts, and you just use one a day, and you just do it yourself and post it yourself throughout the month, and then you go again. That's the. You've got a massive opportunity, and you just. It's just getting your name out there. That's the key thing. And there's, from a sports point of view, you've got a massive opportunity at this moment in time, because obviously everybody's sort of been cooped up in the homes for the last year. The government and everybody are going to have a massive drive of getting people healthy. Because obviously that'll stop people from getting COVID if they're healthier.
Well, that's why we wanted the health and wellbeing bit. But then you and Teresa said you're not interested in that. So I'm like, oh, right, okay. The drawing board.
But we've got, we have health and wellbeing within our own business anyway. We've got we've got a responsibility to make sure our staff are healthy and one thing and another. It's a case of whether, with these larger companies, whether you can have this is just an idea, your Barbados thing. Like Teresa said, she's got 150 employees. If you can try and organise something with 150 employees and get I don't know, you get them all, have a school sports day, have a company sports day. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's something like that. It's just getting.
We've got a lot of cyclists, and probably when we're all in the office, probably 2 or 3 days a week, we'd have probably about 20 of them going out at lunchtime, all in lycra. It was disgusting. Put you off your dinner. But we have got quite a few that are, quite mad on cycling. So, we could do an event.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think that the point is with it all, though, is like, I've just come across you because I've met you on this call, and it's how do I meet more people like you? And especially at the moment, I'm in Marketing Derby, I'm part of Chesterfield Champions, I go to a few networking groups, And I appreciate it's not as easy now because, you know, you're not seeing people face to face, but it's, you know, how do you get to, you know, if I just rang you up as a cold person where you didn't even know me, you'd probably just put the phone down because you'd be like, oh, it's just somebody else. You know what I mean? You know, so it is though, isn't it? You know, you'll get loads of calls. So it's
people invest in you, Chloe. And like you say, you just need to get yourself to, I mean, obviously from a COVID point of view, you can't do anything, but you just need to put your name down for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I say, Ian was brilliant at it. He was out every night and doing the big sell, as I used to say it. And you get your name out there, and then people just remember you. And then that sort of will go. It's like the ripple effect. One person tells 2 people, that 2 people tells 4 people, that 4 people tells 8, and it will just go from there, and it'll snowball. But it's just catching the wave at the right time, unfortunately. And you know, I mean, like I say, not the best person to be saying where to pitch it at, because I don't do that for a living. But I think you've got a huge opportunity somewhere where you can push this. Like I say, sport's just massive.
David, just bring you in and see your hands up.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. I just wanted to check that you weren't specifically targeting Robert, Chloe, about the not able to introduce an under 18s athlete to. It's everyone, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know any hidden secrets about Robert. No, it's everyone.
Okay. That's fine. I'm only joking. So, I mean, some great stuff there, Chloe. I think in terms of individuals, I think there is something there in terms of individuals and individuals wanting to sponsor. I don't know whether you can allow me to gift a sponsorship to an individual, you know, whether they get a voucher for some merchandise. I can buy that for them. I don't see that on the website anywhere, but why would I not want to do that? That's on an individual basis. I think that there's some stuff, I get the safeguarding issues, but I agree with Pedro. I think it was the athletes are the product, I think, really. You might be underselling that a little bit just from an outside view. The other thing I noticed from your page, so I'm a potential sponsor, or we're a potential sponsor. We're not big enterprise. The points that Teresa and Robert have made are valid, I think, on that front. But I look at the page, and I'm not sure you're selling it as well as you could. So you sold it better, actually, Chloe, when you spoke about it. I mean, what social channels? What is your reach? That's not specified on there. The lunch and learn, like, there's very little details. Why not a video? Why not an example video? Or why not, you know, talk about that a little bit more? I can't see it, you know, I can't see from that. It's very clear. You say that you'll backlink me. You'll give me a logo on a page, and obviously that's tiered. I get that. That's fine. I think you're missing an opportunity by not allowing me to have a deeper, each sponsor to have a page on your website. It costs nothing, but the backlink is more valuable from an SEO perspective. And I can talk a little bit about my business and, you know, how we work with you, and a little bit of background on there. So for the sake of a page, I'd give all sponsors the possibility of having a full featured page if they want, and that. The other thing, a couple of other things that came out of it. So the selling aspect, I you know, put it brutally, you are selling. If you don't think we're always selling, you're going to have to sell it, whether you like it or not. You know, I disagree with some of the things that other people have said. You are going to have to be the face of this. You need to be absolutely everywhere with it. You need to be the face. You need to get comfortable with the selling. I think you're thinking it's more like you're asking people for money. It isn't. You're not asking people for money. You're adding value. You're providing benefits. You're solving problems for me. You need to make my life easier. You're really gonna forget. You're gonna have to be the face of it shamelessly. And I think Robert said that as well. You know, you're really gonna have to put it out there. So on just last bit on the CSR for larger enterprise, completely get that aspect. That's front and center. Actually, for SMEs. So the CSR would be important to us, but for SMEs, so for me, so even though I'm the founder, you still need to help me make a business case for it, and it wouldn't be as appealing. I think you might actually be underselling it to SMEs, and also underselling the top package for enterprise for the reasons that I think Teresa said as well. So I think you've got something with some of the employee benefits there. I think so, especially even with COVID ending. So we had a conversation yesterday when we were like, someone said, we need to continue to run some virtual events. And all the directors said, they're an absolute nightmare. They're horrible. Everybody hates them. They're horrible to organize. We'll just go back to doing face-to-face things. And then we pointed out, we've actually hired from all over the country now. We're not going back. We're not going back to 5 days a week in the office for everyone. So actually, and I'm not saying you should do this, this might not be, but if your employee benefits package, if you sold that a little bit more about how my team can join your team session with your athletes or with your trainer or whoever it is you've got on staff, actually that solves a problem for me or my HR manager, because it sounds a bit negative, but you're ticking a great box there. We add it to our employee package. I mean, the take up will be very small. You might get 3 or 4, but who cares? You've sold me the sponsorship, and my team can then go on there and engage once a week with for whatever reason, becomes part of my. So I would get on LinkedIn a little bit more, talk about the benefits of sponsorship. I'd probably target HR managers as well, and just say, look, here's I can make a business case for this. It costs for. This is for SMEs, not for enterprise, different for enterprise. I can make you a business case for this, include these segments in your employee benefits package, plus the benefits, the other benefits of sponsorship in terms of reach and PR and backlink, and it only costs this, and get that HR manager or director to take that to the board and get that spend signed off. That's all I've got, Chloe. Hopefully that was useful.
Yeah, I have to write super fast when you talk, David.
Sorry.
100 things there, thank you.
I'm recording the session, so you can then watch it back a bit later on, Chloe, because it's amazing. Just the physical number of ideas that are coming out right now. It's it's challenging your writing.
So one last thing, I've made a note. I forgot to add it. You already said it, but the collateral for me to share. So you pick me up. I'm going to have to make a business case for it, even if I was interested. You need to give me a 1-pager to take to the other directors, and you need to give me some collateral to share with the rest of the business. So effectively, if I can get them to sign off the 1-page, you make my business case for me. I don't have to do that because I'm not going to do that because I'm too busy. And then when we do sign up, you're like, this is what you send to all your staff, which is, look, great partnership, orderly with you. These are the benefits. This is what you can access. Just 1-pager, 2 1-pages is all you need, Chloe.
Very good. Richard.
Yeah, thanks very much, everyone. Just a couple of things. First of all, what I have done, I've sent round everyone what our marketing planning workbook. So when we train companies in marketing or work with them in a marketing plan, it's quite a useful tool. And the thing that I'm quite passionate about is what actually is marketing. People tend to throw around the word marketing as synonymous with sales, advertising, promotion. And what we've just discovered there is very fundamental to the business proposition itself. So we start with customer value proposition, and I think you have to be really careful about what it is you're really selling. And we talk sport for all, coaching, guidance, CSR, and you do have to be really careful because you've got limited resources being a small business. You have to be kind of lasered in on what it is you're really doing. So that's important, and I'm not convinced that I've got that yet. And why did we get sponsored? I think it's fair to say, if I hadn't met you on here, probably wouldn't have done it, wouldn't have even thought about it. So I think you're right, you do need to get to more people. But the actual real value of it is important. You have to get that there because you've got limited resources, as we've already said. So the next thing is this target market, who you're going for. And this is why I'm a little bit different in terms of social media. We all get several thousand advertising messages a day, and in social media, Twitter lasts about 7 seconds. So I'd probably say focus on LinkedIn. I'd kind of forget the rest because you don't really want to. Your value proposition is aimed really at corporates and the athletes. I'm not sure about that. So I would really. You've got limited resources. I'd really go for LinkedIn around some of the great ideas people have come up with about CSR, their benefits to their business, et cetera, et cetera. The next thing is on segmentation is this idea of psychographic segmentation. So with consumers, you could look and say, well, a demographic segmentation, you could say someone's 40 to 45, male, et cetera, but do they all spend Saturday night the same way? No. So that's their psychographic segmentation. What do they believe in? What do they like? All those things. So business has a similar psychographic segmentation. So you might be in construction, you might be between 100 and 200 employees, but what is the culture? What are your beliefs? So you're looking at people who really believe in sport, who really believe in CSR, and that's your channel, I think. So you've got a lot of people who probably attending sports clubs at the weekend, so the sort of idiots who will stand in the cold and watch a hockey match or football match, etc. So probably you going through sports clubs is quite a strong channel, because those spectators, supporters, players will be passionate about sport. Another thing that you mentioned is you don't like selling this, and this is quite common actually for people who think they don't like sales, because you then got to say what is selling, and it's just like life in general. You do the things that you like doing, so you have to understand what selling really is, and selling is helping people, isn't it? So do you think you ripped me off this week when you signed a sponsorship, or do you think you helped me?
Definitely helped you. Yeah, I guess
you need to get in your mind that you're helping people, not ripping 500 quid out of their wallet. Yeah. And so there is sometimes this guilt that people have about asking for money. Now, you very simply, you sell things. You can only sell something you believe in.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe in your product, you'll never sell it. But you clearly do believe in it, and all you're doing is helping people to get this thing you believe in. So you can probably do a bit of a mindset switch there. You're not selling; you're helping people to improve their health or do something for CSR. So there's a sort of bit of a whiz round, but I think you've got to focus on target market. So to do that, you've got to find out what it is you're truly selling. I think your target market are people probably are passionate about sport, because there's a hell of a lot of people after the sponsorship and charity pound. And I think, as a lot of people have said, what's the business case? And you've really got to be sharp on that. What is the real value proposition? Your marketing mix, as we call it, or all the things that you do, not just promotion, has got to support that. And I think as you've got limited resources, limited cash, you've got to really, really focus and not try and do too many of these wonderful ideas that we've all come up with and probably confuse the hell out of you.
Great stuff. Wow, that's just flown by that last hour and a quarter. And I imagine, Chloe, your right arm right now, your note taking and stuff like that, you're probably absolutely shattered. I think, as I say, good news. We've got this session captured, so you can go back and just quietly go through. There's so many great ideas. I think while you just gather your thoughts, the one thing for all of us is, as we look to grow a business and scale up or whatever we're looking to do, there's no getting away from it. Whether you're a non-profit or a profit company, the competencies of being great at marketing and sales, you can't get away from. You have to be able to really develop this, and then also recognize, as you grow a business as a leader, the things that you're not good at yourself. Is to get out of the way and bring in somebody who is very good at that particular area. That's something to challenge. And I'm just going to echo what Richard was saying there again about mindset. I'm just looking for this book. It's not the exact book, but there's a guy called Jeffrey Gitomer who wrote the Sales Bible. And Jeffrey says to everybody who's fearful about selling, he says, actually, don't think about it that way. Think about it this way. You're there professionally helping people to buy. Professionally helping people to buy. And take away, I'm not here to sell, I'm actually professionally helping you to buy into something that's going to really benefit your organization today. It's a mind shift change that we'll go through around that. So hopefully that will stand you in good stead. So what are your key takeouts from that? And then once you've gone through that, we're going to have a 5-minute break.
I mean, I've just got loads, so thank you so much to everybody for that. It was really helpful. I think some of the points sort of really sticking in my head is I really like kind of the points people made about go big first. You know, think about that, the 5,000 sponsorship, and work out what that right business proposition is for that. So I might come back to a few of you for some help on that if that's doable outside of the meeting. Obviously, definitely in terms of social media, we still need to do loads more on that. We don't tend to do anything sponsorship wise on any other platform other than LinkedIn, just so that we keep the separation. So, you know, we might need to obviously have a look at that. clearly the actual page on the website about sponsorship needs some work, as well as in terms of just kind of making things stand out a lot better. I loved Mary's initial idea about kind of brand ambassadors and kind of asking people that can't necessarily give us money but might be able to have a network that can help us with. So I thought that was really brilliant. I'll certainly have a look at the Swish thing in terms of those personalized videos. You know, that was really good. And the Kickstarter scheme, yeah, but I mean, that's definitely something I'd like to do. There's just so much here. Maybe like even just some of the smaller things, you know, Owen saying he didn't have to think it was that clear that we'd put on there that it's pay monthly. So even just to shout about that little aspect a little bit more would be great. And I think definitely the first thing I'm going to do is just, you know, regularly schedule in some time to post on LinkedIn some of the problems we're trying to solve through, you know, through sponsorship. So yeah, you know, the photos of athletes, crowdfunder page, athletes of products. I've just got loads here. So lots and lots to work on. So a massive thank you, really.
Right, thank you. Yeah, it's a great session. As I said, there's learnings for all of us. I know it's can be in your way, but there's some fantastic learnings for all of us. Let's have a quick break now and come back just after, what would it be, 10:36 at 10:41. You okay, Mark? Or James? You okay?
Yeah, just bit of drama today. Bit of drama. I've also got a big delivery that's because I trustee of Derby Child Contact Centre as well, so that's my other hat. And I've gone through a big refurb, so we've got some new furniture arriving today following a very generous National Lottery grant, and for some bloody reason they've just messaged to say they're delivering it to my house. So I'm gonna have to just give them a call if that's all right, just to make sure they don't do
that's all good.
4 so I'll be back in a few minutes if that's all right.
Yeah, no, we're having a break now anyway, so yeah, well, see you in a bit.
Okay, cheers.
Mark, you all good to go?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good.
Very good, very good. Well, it looks like we're going to have a marketing theme today, or sales and marketing theme. So, well, good. I sense,
Okay.
given the amount of the focus in that last session, we probably will be a couple of minutes before everyone's back. I think Teresa just jumped on a call.
Okay.
So keep an eye out for her. But I think if when we've got most folk back, we'll start probably at about 1:45, I think, by then.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries. No, it's good news on that that deal then. All the money coming in.
Yeah, well, it's quite a lot of money to as if you know, when you've not dealt with a customer before.
Yeah.
And you think, but it was look. I didn't actually spend a lot on materials, but it was a lot of labour went into it. So you've got to be a bit careful. Really, I should have taken 50% down first, but I didn't. But I know the guys very well that I'm doing the project with, which is good. So.
Yeah. Mary,
You can't really, you know.
Have you got? I'll just speak to Mary now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi there. Yeah, sorry, because we've got we've got beautiful offices, but the problem is that this one meeting room, which is a bit quieter, because obviously I've got a couple of people in the office, in the main office where I was before. In this particular meeting room, we can't get the Wi-Fi. And the person who's a bit clued up on the internet in terms of plugging it into the main thing, she's not in. So I'm just going off my phone for now, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. But that's why it says Hawaii P30 or whatever it says.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, where is your office now? Because you're not obviously in the old church. So last saw you in.
No, we're in Cardinal Square, which is fantastic. So we went from being in a tiny little office in a church underneath the roof in the church, and now we're actually in Cardinal Square, and it's about 4 times larger than we had before. So it's an amazing office suite we've got, and it's fantastic to be here after 4 months of working from home.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, and you've got car parking there, I suppose, as well, right? When you're in and the team in the centre of Derby, which is nice, but you wouldn't have had car parking, I guess.
Yeah, well, this has always been a problem. Whenever we've sort of thought about looking for other offices, you know, there's some that are sort of further down towards Markeaton Park. There's no parking. It's too far out of town, because some of the people on the junior end of recruitment that we help find jobs for, it's quite important to meet these people in normal circumstances. And if you're too far out of town and there's no car parking for them or the staff, then it becomes a huge issue. So, yeah. But I'm so sorry I had to book off, because a client had booked a meeting. They said the only time they were available was 10 o'clock today.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's
and then he didn't pick up the phone after all that. And then I was trying to fight about getting the internet going in this room. So sorry, I had to clock off for a short while.
Yes, okay. We've got, I think Teresa's back with us as well now. I think Mark's just about back with us and stuff like that.
Cool.
So, I think we're pretty much all back. So Mark, we'll put you into the hot seat now, and this looks like a fascinating challenge, I have to say. Just looking forward to hearing that. So yeah, if you can, just like we've been doing, just articulate your challenge, and then we'll have a few minutes to ask questions to seek to understand and get the context, and then we'll go forward into the feedback and masterminding.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Neil. Good morning, everyone. What it is actually is just a bit of background about my business. I started maybe 20 odd years ago making components for vehicles. And what happened is I've been making components for years. We've been making, we were the guys that made the spare wheel covers for Land Rover. They go on the back of the wheel. Latterly for Mitsubishi and Toyota. So I had a really big business doing that, moulding it and screen printing it and stitching it up, based in Tibby, and that was good. But then they decided to put wheels underneath, which wasn't good because it didn't need a wheel cover. I mean, in the heyday, we made sort of 30, 40,000 of those wheel covers a year. So that's what I sort of pinned the business on, which was catch a market, because I developed a way of stitching through hard plastic, which was great, which meant that we could put a soft vinyl outer on this wheel cover and make it really cheap to produce. So nowadays, so when that petered out, nowadays I then went on to small components for vehicles, and I still make all the military Land Rover door pockets for all the Land Rovers that are made in the UK for the army. I produce also Mitsubishi's wheel cover still, and produce taxi parts and stuff like that, some niche stuff. But what really piqued my interest really was the fact that I made everything out of plastic, and I didn't want to, which is really bad. So I wanted to make something entirely different. A friend of mine developed basically a board material which is made of flax, and basically what's happened is, because long story short, I've invested in a way of producing the board material in a big sheet format to replace all the hardwoods and all the woods that you get nowadays, because really we don't want to be using wood, do we really, if we can help it? So what happened is I developed what I call a sandwich material, and the sandwich material it's got maybe 2 or 3 different styles of kind of eco board, if you will. One of them has a foam core made out of plastic bottles with different faces on, made out of flax, which is a byproduct of cereal manufacture. The flax is then bathed in a sugar resin, and it comes out like a hard board, so no wood at all. But the one I like the best is basically it's a recycled cardboard honeycomb core. And what that does is that I've got that in stock in sort of anywhere from sort of 7mm to infinite 50mm. And what I've done with that one is I've got a big, massive platinum press that presses it all out. I can put a wooden frame in that, like what we call a picture frame. I can integrate that within the product. So in other words, you can actually put staples in it or fixings and fix it to whatever, fix it together. So it's really come on leaps and bounds. What I've got really is I've got, over the past couple of years, I've got orders for shop fitting parts. Like we make, the other month we made planters for Royal Bank of Scotland with the foam core. These are really ultra lightweight, so they could put them on a wall or on a frame without having a massive steel construction weighed next to nothing. They just put polystyrene in the middle, made it look like real planters a fraction of the weight. And what I've done now is I've moved on to different finishes with this, and like this one is, for example, it looks like a natural wood. It's actually flax again, and it looks like a natural hardwood flax, and it's even got a self-adhesive backing on that one. But what I wanted to do basically is I wanted to, because it's such a massive market, I wanted to sort of hone down a few projects that I could really concentrate on, because you just blow your mind. The one that is the coffins, sorry, not a sexy subject, is it really? But the coffin project, I thought would be a great one, because it's lightweight, it's eco, and basically now it's entirely wood free. I kicked the ball out about 18 months ago when I saw one of the biggest coffin makers in the country. They invited me along, and I went to see them, resplendent in my suit and my hired van. And they kind of like just chucked me off, basically. I walked through the door, and I was really annoyed about it. I just went, they had invited me along, and I was really disappointed. And I came away feeling really despondent. And but maybe 18 months later, they're actually knocking on my door, because I didn't even follow them up, because I was so pissed off, really. Didn't even follow them up. But it's actually just to say what's involved in this nowadays, what the interest is. These guys were actually tapping on my door saying, yeah, can we have, they were interested in coffins. At that stage, I hadn't even made any coffins. I just thought the material would lend itself well to it. After that, what I've done is I've invested in the actual way of, basically the flax comes to me in a fleece, if you will, goes on the big machines, gets crushed into a board. So what I've done is I've actually decided to invest in coating the flax in a big production line now that actually coats it on a blade, we call a J blade coater, and that actually puts the sugar resin, which is a byproduct of porridge oats manufacture. That's actually scraped it on, and then I can put that on in various thicknesses and what have you. So I've invested in that, which is a biggie. So now I can do it all in-house. Since that period as well, I've been working with the University of Derby, and they're going to come up with a way that we can package this. What the idea I come up with was to actually make it in a flat pack form. So you could have like an IKEA style coffin, no wood in it, absolutely no wood at all. And with that kind of finish, or maybe a linen finish, and package it in a way that they could really easily stick it on their shelf. Because at the moment, if you made a coffin, if you buy a coffin, it has to come in a big van, and it takes quite a bit of space up. So in a decent sized van, you can't get that many coffins. My thoughts are to supply it to the coffin manufacturers and say to this flat pack coffin.
Mark, I think we just lost you for a second. We're just in full flow.
Basically, we've got a few questions today really for the team. Is that where do I? Sorry, can you see me okay? Sorry,
we just did lose you for a second. I think we've got the context for the challenge now. Brilliant in terms of where you come from. So, what's the key area that you want to get the sort of the masterminding are really focused on today, Mark?
Yeah. Okay. Well, essentially, what there is there's three massive coffin makers in the country. There's Co-op is one of them. There's two. I think Richard mentioned these the other month. They're called Dignity, and there's a third one which is an independent up north. Basically, they make maybe 80,000 coffins each per year. They make maybe half the amount of coffins made in the UK, so it's probably about 500,000 coffins made over the UK every year. And it's basically the question is, what's the best way? Where do I sell my product? Do I sell it to these guys and say, here's a flat pack form? Do I sell it, or do I cut them out and say, right, let's sell it to all the other smaller coffin makers? Or do I sell it directly to the consumer? The consumer is not really the right word, is it really? But you know what I mean?
The end user.
The end user, yeah. Presumably still alive.
User who is ended.
Pardon?
Alrighty, great stuff. I'm going to start opening up to a few questions to get clarity. Owen's hand is up first. He's straight out the blocks.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Owen.
So to kind of take it, what might seem a little bit off topic, what intellectual property do you have on this process or this particular manufacturing thing? Have you got any sort of registered design, any patent? Is it patentable?
It's a really good question, isn't it? It's a strange one, this one, because it was actually developed by a friend of mine who was a director of Ecotechlin in France. Now, Ecotechlin bought him out entirely, moved it all to France, but they can't actually produce they got the patent on the product, on basically what's called Fibripreg, which is like the flax and the bioresin. But essentially, they've moved on to different things on their marketplace, and they can't produce it. So I'm actually producing it now with my new coating line. So it's something I've got to address really. I've got to look into exactly whether they've got the, and indeed whether they can't even produce it. So I need to have that conversation with them at some stage.
Great question.
They've moved on to a thinner material, so they can't produce it. So it's like that at the second. I need to really hone into that.
So for here, you clearly might. The answer is no. You do not have a patent, or
I don't have a patent. No.
Anything else, Owen?
Sorry, crucially, somebody else does have a patent, though.
Yeah. The French guys have a patent on it, but they're not able to produce it. So
have you got a license to create? Have you got a license on that patent as is at the moment?
No.
Okay.
No. So it's something I might have to address somewhere down the line. I'm talking to the creator of it from the UK, a friend of mine who's created it. So I'm going to talk to him and see exactly where we lie with this one.
Very good.
The French company haven't actually pursued this type of product further because I think they can make more money on a thinner version, and their line is suited to that. So really, I've got to look into this one.
Good. Pedro.
Just tagging on to Owen's one there. So they've got the patent for it, but they can't produce it. Can you get a patent on the bit that they can't do to protect you for that bit?
That's a good question, isn't it? That's
at least then you can secure something for yourself because they can't do it.
Yeah.
But the two, hopefully the basic questions, but just confirming, what happens with your board when people are done with it? Does it decompose? Can you recycle it? And what happens when you cremate it?
Excuse me, can you just spare me a second? The pen's to stop working. Don't go away. Just gonna get a new pen, okay? Sorry.
I've never asked a question that broke a pen before. So.
No. Dave, you're back.
Oh no, I was here all the time, Neil. I heard everything. Obviously, that question didn't go down very well.
Sorry, my assistant has just gone to get a replacement pen. Why do these things always cock up when you least want them to? One second.
Mark, you can listen avidly because we are recording this. So if I'll send this back to you, you can then get all the key points that come out from that if your pen's not working. Pedro, back to you.
Right. Yeah, Pedro. Sorry. Sorry. Can you fire again with that question? Sorry, Pedro.
Yeah. Can you confirm what happens to your board at its end of life? Does it decompose? Can you recycle it? And also, what happens when it gets cremated? Is that an option?
Well, there's great question again. There's what I've done is there's a firm called there's an outfit called FM Funeral Manufacturers Association, and what they can do is they can test the product. Basically, they can take this product and take a couple of coffins off us and test it. And what they do is they come back with some statistics about how it burns and what have you. We've had it under burners at our place, and it doesn't whoosh. You don't want these things to whoosh like a sort of plastic would. And it seems to me that it does what it should do on the tin. It comes down to, but what they do is they test for the ash content, they test for emissions, they test if there's anything else in the left in, like nails or what have you. And they do the full shebang. They actually test for for what weight it'll take as well before it breaks and the whole lot. So hopefully that will answer the question. But I think that was a major one for me, because I persuaded myself that this is the best thing in the world. But that is really tested. Yeah, that's the very next stage to go with. Yeah.
Okay, so that the question is going to get answered soon, but you don't know at the moment.
Yeah. What we're doing is we've just got the production line in for to put the resin on, And the idea now is to then make a full-fledged. We've done half a coffin before, but now we're going to do the full one, and then send it away for testing, which costs maybe 500 quid or something. So it's not the end of the world. But then all the crematoria actually sign up to this test thing, because they've been having all sorts of coffins from all sorts of weird angles. And the idea really is to make sure that the coffin does what it should do in the crematoria.
Very good. David?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Mark.
Hi, David.
Yeah, I know Pedro asked this, but I'm still not clear on the answer. If the answer is you don't know, that's fine. But just for clarity, so I get the product, and I get that you can manufacture it, and you've got that process down. Are you allowed to? Could anybody stop you from manufacturing it, or you would need to pay them? That's the first question. And the second question is there anything that stops anybody else just copying your manufacturing process and manufacturing the same product? Those two things.
I think on both questions, that is something I really need to look into at the moment.
Do you suspect, though, that you don't hold, that the patent holder could stop you from manufacturing it, and the patent holder could also optionally allow somebody else to?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the patent holder really isn't selling what we call a prepreg now. So I've given them the question on the email. But then what I used to do is used to buy this as what we call a prepreg, which was basically the flax in a carpet. The flax is like a thick carpet, if you will. That's where their main area of activity is. But what they were doing in the UK is my friend developed a process that actually bathed this in the sugar resin. Now they're not selling the pre-preg, so I've asked the question: are you okay? If obviously I'm going to be buying the fleece from you, and I can commit to that. But are you okay? And can I have surety that I can bathe it in my own products, my own resin, and come up with a product at the end of it we have an agreement with? So that's I begged the question that actually just recently on that one, so just waiting for the response on that one. I see no reason why not, because these guys really are their area of expertise really is in the creation of the natural fleece product, not really in the bathing or the finishing of it or putting a pre-preg together.
Yeah, so I get that, Mark. That's a good question to ask, but isn't the real question you want to ask them is, if you start knocking out tens of thousands of coffins and selling them, somebody else is going to come and then say they see what you're doing. Somebody else is going to then ask them for permission to make it as well. So you've got no exclusivity. So you've got problem. I know this is advice, but problem number one is that you don't know whether you can be stopped from doing it, which you could clear up. But problem number two is that you've actually got nothing unique if other people want to enter the market. Didn't hear any of that, Mark, because you're frozen.
Sorry, I think is my internet a bit broken?
Yeah, you've had a few challenges. We've bared with it so far, but
I don't know. Do you want me to look really quickly, Mark? What I was saying was that's a good question to ask, but you've really got. Have you not got two problems? One is you want to make sure that they're not going to stop you from doing it, and I get why they wouldn't want to, and today they wouldn't want to, but tomorrow when you're knocking out tens of thousands of coffins every year, somebody else will go, hey, this guy's making these coffins. Can we also do that as well? And then before you know it, you've got competitors, so you've got no exclusivity or uniqueness in the market. That's what I'd be looking at. I know it's
it's a very good question. I've asked the question on various people actually, and there seems to be two sides to this story really. I think you can either go for it and really patent it up and get all the agreement. The concern with what everyone's saying really is whether you can actually just change the resin slightly and then just bypass that product. Or whether it's a good idea just to sort of go hell for leather and actually market the hell out of it and get a really good standpoint and make some good money over it over the 5 years until people caught up with you. You know, it's a difficult one, that one. I'm guessing really that you could actually change you could rather than go with flax, you can go with another type of skin and with a different type of resin, which would do something similar. My concern really is whether you might be sort of wasting your time and sort of try to patent that one where someone could actually just change it to something else, like another type of flax. That was my concern.
I think you had a question, and I got Owen, and then I got Mary, and then I got Chloe. So we'll keep these rapid fire.
So, parking IP for a minute. Wood-free. Okay, how eco-friendly is it really in comparison? Has any research been done? You know, I'm thinking of a recent case where McDonald's changed from plastic straws to paper straws, and it turns out that paper straws are probably worse for the environment. So if you're going to be marketing it, have you got the research in place or planned research that can actually say this is the environmental impact of this as a product versus fast-grown managed wood sources?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great questions. What it is actually, Owen, is that there's basically three components to this one. One of the big questions, one of the big makers was that they wanted a totally wood-free coffin, which is very difficult actually, because even the cardboard coffins have got a natural wood frame or skeleton. So it was a very difficult question. They said, look, we want totally wood free. I'm going to do that. So I went away, and basically there's a firm in Europe, in Holland, and they produce for the framework they produce a chipboard that's got no wood in it. And again, it's got flax, and it's got rice, and it's got all sorts of byproducts of agriculture. And it looks exactly like chipboard. So that kind of meets that one. There's a technical data sheet they've just sent me actually on this one as well, which is interesting. There's got no formaldehyde in it.
Sorry, just to swing back to the question, have you got any sort of research as to the environmental impact of creating an 8x4 board of this material versus an 8x4 board of some fast-grown, ecologically managed pine or whatever? I don't know what wood grows fast.
No, I haven't got any, but I think you can soon draw that together. I was going to get the Derby to help me on this one, the University of Derby. I mean, the impact is really, off the top, with a managed plantation of trees, you might be maybe talking, I don't know, 5-10 years to actually to get something that you can harvest. On the flax, the flax is specifically grown in Europe, basically, but it's grown next to the plant. So the flax basically is like a 12-month turnaround time. The sugar resin is a byproduct of Scots porridge oats, basically. And when you actually roast oats, that the glue is from there. So really the environmental impact is that would have been burnt or just thrown away maybe 20-30 years ago. So those are your three main components, and this one here, which is basically the veneer, that's produced with a plant cellulose in there. That's flax, and that's got plant cellulose. So that. But I really think that I can soon drag something together with the university to actually answer that question, because I think it should be really, really to the point, this one, shouldn't it?
Mary.
Yeah, it should be. It should be quite a straightforward one. The other component, of course, is the cardboard core or the paper core, and that's actually made from newspapers. Basically, it's recycled cardboard core. That one is the bit that I least know about. So I'm going to find out about that one. We don't want the straw scenario.
Was it me going?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Just one other thing, just to finish up on with Owen. There's also the massive weight advantage on this product. A normal coffin weighs about 40 kilos. At the moment, we've measured out. Yeah. That's without a body in it. and ours weighs up at the moment. Ours weighs at 15. That's 15 kilos. So that's a massive saving with regards to transportation costs. So basically, you can flat pack it, put it in the truck, get more product in a truck, and also the product is half the weight, at least half the weight of the traditional type.
Wow.
So that's a big thing to me as well, I think.
Yeah, a couple of questions that I was kind of sort of thinking was, people have touched on the eco footprint of these things to make them as such. But my question to you was, how, in terms of sort of eco-friendly people as such wanting to use your product, do you know what the decomposition, how it would absorb? This is going to sound a bit gross now, but have you done any analysis in terms of like how it actually is absorbed into the earth? Because it's not wood, but equally they seem to be from, you know, the flax, that's natural. But the bits that are made out of plastic bottles, have you done any research in terms of how what the decomposition rate is back into the soil to be absorbed again?
No, I haven't. On the plastic bottles one, I haven't really developed that as highly as the cardboard core, because I think really with that one, and we.
I think it's frozen again. Can you?
I thought it was just a dramatic pause.
If you try, Mike, if you try stopping your video but carrying on the audio, sometimes that helps with poor broadband connections.
Yeah.
What's that, sorry?
Just knock your video off.
Yeah, we don't want to look at you anymore, Mark.
That's it.
Is that better?
That's much better.
Is that better? Right. So okay. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at basically perhaps it could be a fuel source on the one with the foam core. I think it'd be a good fuel source. But on the one with the cardboard core for the coffins, I think that's going to be part of the university's research for that one for me.
Good.
Okie dokie.
I'm thinking it's going to dissolve pretty well, but again, I'm not really sure. It's something that I've got to address that one.
Bit more research. Another quick question was, this speaks of like price per product, price per unit as such to produce. I didn't know if you'd done any comparisons as to what the cost to manufacture per product would be as against the normal wooden coffins, and also what sort of margins you potentially might be looking at, because ultimately, I mean, it sounds a fantastic product, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I suppose it's all about kind of profit as well, isn't it? So, I mean, is there some potential profit margin in there for you?
Yeah, sure. I'll be honest with you. We've only got the line installed over Christmas, and it's yet to be finished to be wired up at the second. So on series production, we're not quite there yet on the cost. But as a cost comparison, really, you can buy a cardboard coffin for say 200 or 300 quid. That's kind of like an eco budget one. The normal coffins might be say £400 upwards, and the ones that I've really benchmarked against, that I wish to benchmark against, would be the woven ones, because I think they look quite nice. They're quite expensive though, and if it's made of willow, then it's made in the UK. But they can be like starting at £500 and £600.
Wow.
But the ones from overseas, you can get cheaper ones from overseas, which are like made out of seagrass and all sorts of funky things. But the argument there is, of course, if you're looking at lightweight, that's fine. But if you're looking at eco, it's not very eco when you stick it on a big plane and you stick.
It's not good carbon footprint, is it?
It. No. So I'm hoping price point wise, I'm sort of on the level with the. I mean, there's nothing cheaper than chipboard, and they're made out of 15mm chipboard, which is what they're made from at the moment.
Yeah.
And there's nothing cheaper than that. But I'm hoping I'm not going to be too far behind it. I want people to look at it and think, well, yeah, it looks sufficiently different, but not stupidly different to what we can buy. But yes, it's we realise that it is wood free. That's where I'm hoping. So I'm hoping we can get a bit of a premium on that one, a slight premium.
Definitely.
What we'll do
No,
next
thank
is,
you.
lots of great questions. There might be a few more, but let's also get into some masterminding, some really, from what we've learned so far, some ideas for Mark and how you can then grow out this opportunity specifically around, the focus on the marketing side of things, and what Rich was saying earlier about getting clear on your value proposition. So I think Chloe as well, you did have your hand up a while back, so maybe sort of start with yourself. Is the feedback.
Sure, I can try and turn my question into a solution. I know that now it's quite big in terms of planning for your funeral in advance. So people do pay for their funerals well in advance for their parents or whatever. Now, the idea that you were saying about actually selling direct to the consumer, I don't know enough about that world in terms of when you pay for your funeral, does that also include your coffin, or can you buy your coffin separate and then say to the funeral person, oh, I've already bought my coffin, so I just need to buy the process bit, if you like. So if we just be a case of, I don't know if I'm on my own in this, but just not really understanding the full detail of how you the process is. Can you even do that?
What, buy a coffin and then give it to the funeral director?
Right.
Is that what you think? Is that what you're thinking? Like
I mean, I've only sort of dealt with one major death in my family, and the ambulance came round, did it, and then we spoke to the co-op and everything's done, and you kind of go to the funeral. So I just don't understand how you can sort of separate that process, if you like, or if you can do it, then maybe that's the crucial marketing point, is just educating people that, when you pay for your funeral in advance, you can also buy a coffin as a flat pack in advance. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be a very what seems to be shining through for me with this marketplace is that it's very traditional, and I think people are scared of death, really. I think they seem to take the easy option. You ring the funeral director and that's it. Just choose a coffin from a book and away you go. So it seems to be very trad, this one. So it's something that I really have got I don't have a clue actually at the second how potentially that could work, really. But
just on that, butting in a little bit, but it's relevant to this point. It's quite interesting how a number of markets have reinvented themselves, and it could happen in this market because what I think is the price of funerals is pretty high, and there has been a Monopolies Commission investigation into this.
Yeah,
there are really two main funeral providers in the country. But what I'm trying to get at is you could be a disruptor here and compartmentalize coffins and take two things away. One is the high prices, and two is this idea that someone's died, you're in extreme grief, and you're not going to start negotiating with the funeral director because people might think it's a little bit heartless. Nothing's too much trouble. Now, if you look at the way the opticians market went, I'm going back 20 years now. 20 years ago, those of us with these things on, we go into an optician and excuse the pun, we'd be robbed blind. Specsavers came in and completely opened up the pricing. You couldn't even work out the price of your lenses until you had a sight test. And it could be that even the very emotional area of funerals is up for disruption. And you could start to buy all these elements, find someone to open up a website, because a funeral is bloody expensive.
Yeah.
And I just don't think people start battling about the price. So I'd support Chloe's idea. It's a long haul to disrupt a market, but it's something worth thinking about.
Can you just spare me a second? So someone's just trying to get me on the phone. Are you right for just 1 sec?
Yeah.
All
the ideas are lining up now. So David is very insistent that he had his hand up first.
Sorry, guys. It was just in there.
No, it's fine. Doesn't really matter where
I'm going to shut up now.
Where they come from. No, I think it's the great quality of feedback.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sure whatever you were going to say is very prescient, very, very worthwhile.
I had a great question.
Actually, I was so keen to get in that I phoned him directly.
Richard totally disrupted the whole process. He
It's about disruption.
Market disrupted the whole networking session. You're a disruptor.
It would be quite amusing if somebody did ring Mark and then he answers the phone saying, "This is your peer networking group." He comes back.
Sorry about that.
I think it was a pen salesman on the phone. I've heard you recently had an accident with a pen.
I did as well. I took the pen. It's true.
Oh,
I
that's
left it against the wall.
Good. Mark, you okay? Right. So David's got his next in the line for some.
It's just a question, Mark.
Hi, David.
Hi, Mark. I'm going to throw this up. You're manufacturing these things, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that they're flat pack and everything. What about customization and personalization? How easy is it if I wanted to put an engraving on there, or even a picture, or whatever I wanted on there? Is that easy for you to do as part of the manufacturing process?
Yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah, what we could do really is we could rather than laminate the structure, we could actually put a graphic on it instead. I think these are actually wrapped at the moment. Not wrapping as in sort of music, but wrapping as in as in like a paint wrap. I think that's how they do it. I think it's actually run off on a large format machine and then wrapped. So yes, that's possible. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously I'm thinking of Starbucks rather than Costa because it's a bit more upmarket to Richard's link that he sent around. But that's fine. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, no worries. And another idea for you as well, David, is that I was thinking of whether we could just put a few small things together, like maybe even we could compress like for the little plate with the name on. We could even compress it at the same time, or maybe even I've not looked into this yet, but maybe even the manufacturing process might allow us to actually even throw someone's name in there as a process.
Lead time, Mark. So let's say I ordered a personalised coffin from you. How long would it take for it to arrive flat pack for me?
Well, what I was thinking, David, actually, is I was just wondering whether this could be an on-the-shelf job, because I think there's about 7 sizes altogether, and I was just wondering whether we could actually pop it on the shelf. Usually these things are made to order, but I was just wondering, with it being flat pack, whether we could actually make it make it and box it.
I get that. Yeah, you absolutely could. But go on, just hypothetically, if I was to personalise it, how long would it take for you?
Personalise it. Sorry, yeah. Personalise it. Yeah, good question. Not sure on that one. A lot these top 3 makers have got their own personalisation department where they can actually run it out. I think you could have
got potentially quite a tight window, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. I think you'd have to do it in-house, number one. And I think really it would be a case of getting your graphic artist to actually produce it and then wrap it, within days, really, I'm guessing. I haven't looked into that. So I've got experience with printing and screen printing, but I think you could actually do that fairly quickly, to be honest with you. I think you'd have to do that within the week, really, wouldn't you, to be fair? That's some day turnaround.
We've got a raft of feedback coming through. What we're going to do for the next 4 or 5 bits, Mark, if you're okay, just to listen avidly to the feedback, maybe not respond to that, and then we'll be able to get through them, and maybe we'll back you up, and then you can respond back around that. That's cool. So first up, we're going to go to Rob, and then I'm going to pick up Owen's point, and then Teresa's point. So Rob.
Yeah, obviously, I'm just going back onto reverse into the patent. You obviously mentioned that you haven't got that currently. Well, yeah. Let's say Co-op you go and try and sell the product to Co-op, and they go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, we haven't got patent. We'll make it ourselves, and then you've not got a business. And so there's a fundamental error there, and that you need to sort of sort out and get that sorted, because otherwise, I mean, these top 3 companies that sell 400,000 or 500,000 pounds, 400 or 500,000 coffins a year, they're going to be protective of their market, and they'll albeit they'll be listening to you avidly, they'll try and take you out of it as quick as they can, as most big companies do. I mean, as well, in terms of cost wise, I mean, you were saying that I hope it'll be cheaper and one thing in another. What if it's not? What if it's more expensive? know what I mean? Those sort of things that you need to sort of be sorting out before you start trying to sort of sell your product or anything like that. Even without manufacturing, you should be able to have enough. You should be able to have enough experience within this coffin business to be able to know what you're going to be able to sell them for. Because if you don't know what you're selling them for, I mean, same again when you rock up to Co-op or whoever you're trying to sell these coffins to, and saying, "Well, I'll hope they'll be cheaper than a normal wooden coffin." I mean, you need to know that specifically.
Yeah.
And without that, you've not got a business. So there's some fundamental things before you start moving into sort of sales and stuff like that to sort of get sorted. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not massively experienced in patenting or anything like that, but you need to make sure that you covered everything legally and everything is absolutely watertight and nobody can steal your idea. Or if somebody else has got the rights to it, you need to go and buy it off them and make sure that you've got everything under your wing, and then you can put your right foot forward first. You know what I mean? And then go and sell it, because ultimately you can disrupt it. I mean, I'm sure Amazon would take you'd be able to sell it on Amazon or something like that, and they deliver you a coffin your next day. That'd be that's probably a good idea. But I mean, ultimately, you want to go to the people that have done these funerals for the last 100 years, and they're the main three people. Because I mean, you want to change if you're looking at changing the environmental impact of it, whether you disrupt it and you become the new Co-op, or you just sell the product to Co-op and they obviously use your product. If you're focusing on the environmental impact, ultimately that doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's
very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just bring it next.
Sorry, Neil.
You should have to write a little bit about it.
Was it? Sorry. Cool. So just following on from the IP thing, be careful with the university, because they may well have something in the contract of dealing with you that they get a slice of IP as well. It's about, again, to mirror Rob's point, Robert, sorry. IP would be the first thing on my list. Then I would look at getting some solid, credible research done on the environmental impact of this as a building material versus the competitor. So your wood, your cardboard, your willow. And also, as I sit at a flat pack desk with two flat pack set of shelves behind me and flat pack stuff throughout my house, I'm wondering if I appreciate trying to carve a niche to start off with, but I'm wondering if there's potentially a bigger market out there in sort of research and development with the likes of IKEA or whatnot, to say to them, okay, well, we can mold whatever you want and produce a warehouse full of flat pack desks. It's just going to be chipboard and cardboard insert and stuff. There's a bigger thing there potentially, but I do appreciate you need to start somewhere. You need to work out if it is mass manufacturable, and part of that is making sure that you've got your intellectual property protected.
Very good, thanks, Owen. Pedro, going to bring yourself in next, Teresa next, and then Richard.
Sure, thanks. Not much to say really on what everyone else has gone on with, but obviously it's clear, Mark, you've mentioned it before, you've invested in this technology, you've put your own production line in, you've gone so far down the line, and the good thing is you're not just committed to coffins, but you are committed to this process and the material. So obviously, and it's clear you can sell anything. You've done really well with your tire covers and the walls to the F1 place that you mentioned a fortnight ago. So just trying to just make sure you've got the IP like everyone else has said.
Not on the call, Pedro.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, at least you heard it. That's fine.
I heard it, Pedro, and I've heard that he hasn't got a patent, so I'm going to look at investigating how easy it is to manufacture these things straight after the call.
Maybe you can manufacture pen casings with them so they don't break. Maybe, you know.
Oh,
There's a bit of bad luck there.
What we'll continue
bad luck.
because we are recording this, so we can then share the ideas with Mark. We'll keep.
Oh, if we're recording it, then I was definitely joking about the competitive thing.
No.
I'm
we're
too busy.
absolutely.
Too busy to make coffins.
No hiding. Teresa.
It was only a quick thing really, but it's a bit difficult with him not being here. I was going to ask, has he just thought about the human market? And on the back of that, and there's a lot of sad people like me when I go into this, I breed dogs and show dogs and judge them and whatever. Anyway, I pay a fortune to have my dogs individually cremated. And there isn't an eco-friendly product that you can have them back in. Interestingly enough, you can buy your own. Now, they are very expensive. You're probably not talking much difference between a human coffin and a little pet one. Now, I get them back in sort of, I don't know whether you can see, it's probably something about that big, and you can only have porcelain or wood that they come back in once they've been cremated. And there is a huge market. There is a huge market because pet burials, like I say, I have mine cremated. So, but on the cremation side, you know, you don't have much choice of what you can actually get them back in. You can purchase things to put them in upwards of probably about £150 for a little thing to put them in. But there's definitely a market. Now, if he can get in either with vets or with the companies that actually do the pet cremations for the vets, it is a huge market because more people nowadays have the pets back rather than just burying them in the garden, or if you have to have them put to sleep. Majority of people, and nearly everybody I know, doesn't just say, yeah, just take them away. They say, no, I want them cremated and I want them back.
That's a great idea, Teresa.
That is a great idea.
And like I say,
stop recording. We should all jump on that while he on the call.
He said it better.
We could do this as a pet project.
Exactly.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, there is a gap in the market there, definitely.
No, that's what happens when you don't invest in having broadband fiber or whatever it is, or good what you've just messed the absolute killer idea. So it's got Teresa, just to articulate that again.
No, I was just saying, Mark, you seem quite set on the human market. And what I've just said is there is a massive gap from somebody that breeds dogs. There is a massive gap in the pet market.
Oh, yeah, good.
Something that is eco-friendly.
Yeah.
I, unfortunately, had to have one put to sleep on Monday. And I can only get a back in either porcelain or wood. There's no eco-friendly option. So you can either do it through the vets themselves, or you can do it through the cremation people that actually work for the vets. There isn't that many of them in the UK. They're usually big because we do funerals at work, but we actually looked at actually setting up a pet crematorium because it's huge business.
Oh, massive.
Yeah. Obviously, you can charge quite a premium for. I've got quite big dogs and they fit in something that big. So you're not looking at a massive product size-wise. But
yeah,
it's a premium.
Yeah, and perhaps you could get away without putting the wooden frame in, because obviously wooden frames actually give it a lot of structure, which is okay.
You don't need it. You don't
need it. So that
this sounds terrible. I've looked at the ashes inside, and you'd be amazed. A big dog doesn't create that much ash-wise. Yeah.
Looking for his pen. Looking for his pen.
Oh, bless him.
I think she's died.
There you go, customer number one.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe how long it's taken me to train her to do that.
Yeah.
Today.
But no, there is a big market on the pet side of it.
Fantastic advice. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Richard.
Yeah, Mark, how much research have you done on the competition and the existing supply chain of coffins and caskets?
Not masses.
Let's just be a bit Dragon's Den here.
Yeah.
What do you mean by not masses?
Well, I haven't taken it to the stage where it needs to take to, because essentially with the composites, I've always been in the chicken and egg scenario. Will the composite?
Okay. I've got a bit of a worry for you here. Sorry to be negative.
Okay.
This is a hugely competitive market with some very, very serious players. They've all got eco-friendly. They've all got eco-friendly solutions, and the recyclable, environmental friendly coffin is quite established now.
Yeah.
Now, my worry is your product different enough to trouble these people? And what everyone else has said about patents comes into play here. And bearing in mind that established supply chain, bearing in mind there are quite a lot of eco-friendly products, are you solving a problem that doesn't actually exist? Because, to break in and get real volume here, these guys are going to be really protective. And why really, frankly, should they go down your solution when the solution that they've got is probably good enough for the person who's selecting these coffins. Now, the other thing I would say is, picking up on what Chloe and I talked about earlier on.
Yeah.
When people come to this point, you're going to have to be quite a serious eco warrior to have thought about this to a high degree, to have the most super duper eco-friendly coffin. And when it comes down to, if you segment the population, how many people are really that bothered about recycling and really get into it? It's quite a small number. So yeah. I think before you spend too much more money, I think you've got to do a lot more research. Otherwise, you'll have a bloody brilliant production line with a brilliant product. Actually, nobody's that bothered about buying.
Yeah. My concern really is that the wooden ones is obviously the de facto way of making it. It's cheap, it's heavy, it's been done for many years. What I was hoping really I could do with my version is come very close, so the price point is taken away for starters, and come really close to what's on the market at the second. To sort of take the price thing away, and also take the price question away, and also add some extra design features in it that you can't achieve with a normal wooden construction. That's
but how much of it? I don't know, and this is where your research comes in. How much of your $6,000 average funeral costs is the coffin? So you save 10% of the coffin. Well, you still got to pay $5,900. I just don't know that. I don't know those numbers, that economics. And my concern is, Mark, I'm not sure you do, and you need to.
Well, it's always been an eternal chicken and egg with composites, because I've really had to sort of buy the machinery first before you can even test the product. So it's chicken and egg, because the machinery is not on the market, so I've had to have mine bought in, tested, converted, etc., to actually even find out whether it's strong enough or good enough, which is a crazy way of doing it, really. So you've got to really sort of go down that line first of devising the method of manufacture before you can actually make the product. So it's been a big leap of faith, really. So I haven't really sort of gone down it deeply because I've not had a product to test until now. It's a big fingers crossed issue, really.
So far, Mary, have you got any ideas?
I'm on mute. No. Well, a couple of things, really. I mean, I totally agree with what everyone else has said about IP. I think if you've got a product, you need to protect your product and you need to protect your business, because otherwise, if you haven't got that protection, any other company will take that up. Number two, you mentioned right at the very start, it was the challenge of like how to market this thing.
Yeah.
As and when you decide on what the definitive product is, whether it's a coffin for pets, a coffin for humans, or actually, I think there's maybe something around the food packaging sector. I don't know if you've looked at that, but there's a lot of talk about, like, cartons, making sustainable packaging for products
Yeah.
like milk, liquids, all sorts of other things. But I think one of the key USPs that you offer is it's no wood, all eco. Those are words you actually said earlier on. I wrote them down.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like that Ronson's, it does what it says on the tin.
The
I think some of
water seal. Yeah.
Yes. So what I was thinking was with yours, whatever you decide to do and specialize in, but it's no wood, all eco. It does what it says on the tin. Now that could be no wood, all eco coffins. It could be no wood, all eco packaging, whatever. But it's just like a hashtag, and you keep using it with your branding and your marketing, pretty much from the get-go when you start to define exactly what your product, the finished thing, is going to be.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I'm sure Richard and the others involved in marketing will agree, it's about having a recognizable tag on your social media and everything. And I disagree with what somebody said earlier. I think it might be Richard, and apologies, Richard. I actually think that the whole eco thing is actually very important to a huge amount and growing amount of people, not just in the UK, but overseas. And I think if you stumble on the right product, I love the pets idea that Teresa came up with. I completely think that's amazing.
Yeah.
But if you stumble on the right idea and the right IP, it's something that could be rolled out internationally, where there's also a huge demand for eco-sustainable products, and people are on about saving the trees, not using wooden products and you know, destroying forests and stuff. So I actually think it's a cracking idea. I just think that the price point, it needs to be something that is commercially viable for you and your business, so that you're making a good margin. I think there's a lot of research. I definitely agree with everyone else that said that. You need to research, is it viable and sustainable? But I think,
what I'm saying is a lot of people are already doing this. That's the point I'm making. It is important, but is there room for another one?
I find that with the eco attitude at the second, looking at it outside the box, forgive the pun, is that I find that if I was wanting a coffin, I'd just gravitate towards something that was made out of oak and looked okay. But if I wanted something that I could get something of a similar price point, I'd probably go with that, because it kind of makes so much sense. But the thing that I've noticed really is that I don't like cardboard coffins, because I think they're crap and they're cheap. But there again, the wicker ones are very expensive. So I'm hoping that this might be a middle ground, really, maybe just pitched just above the wooden version, where people say, well, that's great. What, no wood? Yeah, there's no wood. And by the way, it looks more attractive as well, and it's a bit more mainstream than the cardboard down here and the wicker one up here. You know, it's a bit more mainstream, a bit more likable, maybe, a bit more universal.
Very good. Yeah. Mark, James, just getting towards the sort of end of the session now. I just want to make sure that bring you in as well. I know you haven't contributed on this one yet.
I love it. I love how when you really sort of listen to Mark chatting, he's got something, and everyone on the call knows that actually this is really cool, and there's the passion's there first and foremost, and the research is there, and it's really wise, especially from Richard, who's sort of playing devil's advocate here and pointed out some of the pitfalls. Just do it. I can see the excitement in you, and you clearly are there, but you're doing the right thing. Is that you're putting your passion out and letting people nibble away at that and challenge it. And there's just dozens and dozens of brilliant points that have been made on this particular session that are there for you to work off. My advice, buddy, it's but like I said last week, back yourself, because it's all there. But take Richard's advice really, really carefully here. Just explore those pitfalls just a touch deeper.
Yeah, it's got to be really wrought properly, hasn't it? At the moment, it's sad really that I've got to sort of invest in all the kit to actually make the product and then test it. Really, it should be the way around. Really, it should be testing the product and then get the kit. There's no kit on the market to make it, so it's really chicken and egg. Can I just say as well, Mark? Thanks for kicking our arse on Saturday on the pitch. Yeah, cheers.
Very good. Hey, I think we've got time, maybe just a couple more ideas, and then let Mark really sum up on what he's heard. Is there any other sort of final burning burning feedback. Two more. Sorry, I've got the hands.
Can I say it to Mark this time?
Get on the thing. So I think this time Pedro just beat David to the hands up. So Pedro and then David, and then we'll get to Mark to wrap up.
I said this earlier, but I didn't notice you weren't on the call, Mark. So apologies. So I remembered what you said about getting the kit in and everything like that. So you're committed to this. You're not committed to the product. You're committed to the process.
Absolutely.
Like you've shown, you can use this, and if with other people's advice and like Owen says, different products are there. You've got to find your own niche. That if the coffin isn't the best one for you, you don't keep going down that alley. But there's so many other options. What more can you do with this composite that you can't do with wood? Maybe it's because you can get a single sheet the same size, or it's all the furniture. And as well, your market for your marketplace for coffins, it's a really short lifespan. Pardon the pun. There's no customer relationship life cycle there.
Yeah.
They're not even, one person's going to buy one coffin from you if you're lucky. You can get something, whereas pet lovers who unfortunately the pets die, or it's furniture, repeat. You want to get that repeat business, because otherwise it's going to be really tricky. You need to make all your margin on and your profit on one sell, rather than over a lifetime with that customer.
Yeah, good point. This is why I was thinking of going with the makers, really, rather than going on a website, doing it piecemeal one-offs. Because I was thinking if I could get some relationships going and some legals going with the big makers, at least they've got the pipeline to big runs. That was my kind of thought, really.
Yeah.
Or maybe it might even be better to start with the smaller makers. But I can just say to them, look, I've got the coffins here, the eco ones that you can offer as an option, and maybe start on a smaller basis, on the smaller makers, of which there's quite a few in the country,
Sorry, one last thing. If you can get the IP on your product,
yeah,
you're the only one that owns that, as in the material is your product, not what it gets fabricated into.
Yeah,
if you own that, you could go to IKEA, you could go to coffin makers, you could go to anyone.
Yeah.
And they would have to buy your material in your composite. So they take the risk, they do the design, they do the testing, things like that. But you own this special one-off environmentally friendly material that they have to get.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah. Good one. Just on a different subject altogether, we've actually made some flight cases this week out of it for export.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of my video again. On the subject of different products, we've actually made some flight cases. Some big flight cases with wheels on, and we made this out of this product. A flight case, yeah, and they've got like wheels on, and they go on planes. So really, that's half the weight of a chipboard or a phenolic fly one. Half the weight of it, and sent it off like that, and the customer was really impressed by it. Wood free again. Wood free, half the weight.
David, just bring you in.
So yeah, Mark. So my advice would be, so I think the best ideas that have come out of this session are on the pet side and the other products or applications for the material side.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I'd be tempted to explore those. If you can't get any level of protection on this, then I don't see as, so if you can get protection on it, fine, sell it to the coffin manufacturers and they won't be able to compete with you on that. If you can't, the only real viable business then is to build a consumer facing brand and actually engage and educate consumers about this directly. I think that might be quite risky and is extremely expensive and hard work, and because otherwise you'll have nothing to protect. You've either got protection on the product or a brand. I do think that when it comes to funerals, my brother-in-law is a funeral director. I'm by no means an expert, but I think a lot of these decisions that they're either made by people in front of undertakers pre-planning their own funeral, at which point they have to be educated, the benefits have to be sold to them, or by families sat in front of a funeral director planning the funeral for a loved one. Your problem there is that it's not going to be front of mind. You're right about the cardboard coffins, of course, but you've got to sell them. They're not going to be interested, I don't think, and this is anecdotal, but in the environmental benefits as much, unless it was a wish of the deceased, whereas you might stand more of a chance of getting someone who's pre-planning. But all that said, all that wrapped up, that's why if you can't get protection on the material or the production process, I think the best ideas were to explore pets and other applications for it. I really like the pets idea. And couple that with personalization and customization. I'm just going to throw this out. If you had a website where I could buy one of these for my pet and personalize it online and it was sent to me within a couple of days, you might have something there. It's quite nice. But anyway, that's all I've got. Cheers, Mark.
Very good.
Thanks, David. Thank you.
Some great advice. While we're just asking Mark just to digest on that, I've just put into the chat bar, hopefully everyone can see this, just the feedback for today's session. If you can just, as we wrapping up, take some time just to click on that and just give me a thumbs up when you've done that or whatever, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Mark, just then in terms of reflection on what you've heard today, what are the key takeouts that you've got for the session today?
Well, where do I start? It's massive. Yeah, thank you, everyone. That's brilliant. What the key things we keep coming back to on this one is the IP and the protection. Which what I'm going to do really is I'm going to make the product and make sure it works as a product really, and then rather than get the IP now and finding out it doesn't work as a product anyway. I think I'm going to sort of make sure it works, and then get it protected. Because I think really, I think there's quite a few numbers there. Thanks for Pedro for the quite a few of you as well for the pets idea, which might be a really good way of starting, because it's smaller and it's a bit more simplistic than making one with a skeletal frame in it. So that's a really good piece of advice. That I really like that one.
Sorry, Mark, just to be clear, that was all Teresa. That was definitely Teresa that started that.
It was Teresa.
Teresa's idea.
Thank you. Yeah, another massive comment as well was the comments about the research on environmental impact, which is a big seller. If I could actually get the university into this, or really look at the story for the product from when it's grown in the field to when it's actually made into a product, which actually could be as little as months rather than years worth of growth. I think Mary said a lot about the no wood, eco, lightweight aspects of the product, and how that fits with the price points, that it's not too crazy expensive, and that it's something similar to what we should be getting as a mainstream product. Because really, this is what I want. I want this to be a mainstream option rather than people thinking, oh, hang on, that was a bit too silly and a bit too expensive. Yeah, decomposition, tests on decomposition in the ground, because another one we've not touched on actually is the environmental impact of it, of open burials, which are getting quite popular. It's not a word, is it, popular, but you know what I mean. And I think that's a good one, and also the breakdown of each product. Does it work? Does it decompress? Is it okay in the ground? Is it going to work? But yeah, masses.
Well, I'm glad you found a pen.
Thank you.
To capture all these great ideas. We were a bit worried at one stage that you lost the pen, and then you left us, but you came back. I think, just summing up, from what we heard, is that it's clearly something you're really passionate about. It just comes through. It really, I think as a bunch of peers around you, I think every single one on the call today just says, I wish we could help Mark make this a great success. It just sounds like you've got somebody who has got such an innate, almost an inventor, an idea that you can kind of associate and is doing good for the world. I think one other reflection, and it really comes back to what Chloe was also wrestling with as well, is thinking who else is on your team, Mark, and where do you need expertise? Do you need more help in your company around the marketing, the research, the whole of that area? And I think have that as a priority to think what talent can I bring in to the company, even if it's not necessarily formalized at the moment, but people can see the vision where you're heading, to really help balance those areas that you're not so strong at, but can really be a good balance for where you've got that inherent genius you bring in terms of the inventing and the ideas and all that. But again, we know that to grow something out, you've got to be damn good at marketing, understanding the market, going what's the value proposition, helping around that, and then getting in the sales thing. So really good sessions, 2 great sessions. Wow, again, the 3 hours have just flown by today. Thank you for their interaction. I really feel now that this group it's extraordinary in the fact we've never met face to face. Really, we're doing all this online. We build up trust. We've got some amazing ideas coming out. We're rooting out for one another. It does feel quite special, and thanks to you all on that. Who hasn't had an opportunity to be in the hot seat yet? Who's still got? So Pedro has not been in the hot seat. Mark as well. Are the two of you, are you okay to be in 2 weeks' time in the hot seat?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I'll have anything to say, or I've not got any problems addressing apart from like pubs not being open. But I'm looking forward to it because I want to be interrogated by you guys. I mean, there's such a
I think beer and rugby is a great combination.
good round of talent here. It's
yeah, I think we all, certainly the guys on the call today, and hopefully a lot of ladies get it as well. That sport and beer, or anything and beer, is a good combination. Having spent a lot of my working life in beer as well, so Mark,
having done fitness and death today.
Yeah, 2 opposite ends.
Maybe a byproduct goes with that. Mark, are you okay to be in the spotlight in a couple of weeks?
So as per Pedro, I'm going to present a scenario that I've got of reinvigorating confidence in travel. And everybody here enjoys a holiday, and everybody here undoubtedly there's trepidations and concerns about getting on an airplane and traveling again. And my puzzle is being able to do that effectively, so that school governors, parents, teachers, and the pupils, all of those become travel confident again. And I'd like to dig into your concerns and feelings around that to help me create the right material of comfort to encourage those going forward.
Very good, excellent.
Honestly, I haven't got much to think about, and I haven't got the time to really think about something. So if someone else wants to have a go for next week, if that's going to be more helpful, I'm fine for that, and I can wait, and hopefully I'll have some more problems in the
I'll tell you what, by the time you've been in the bottling line and stuff, I'm sure you've got lots of ideas. So I think if you're okay, Pedro, even if it's a blank canvas and just, you've got the opportunity to people to fire questions like we've done, and that then a burning challenge comes to mind, then let's go there. Because I think we've got most folk through now. They've certainly done the one, because we'll be on to that. So if you're okay on that.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. So second request, really, I think I've spoke to a few about getting a testimonial, but if this is going to continue, it would be great to get your heartfelt feedback on what value you've got from peer networks. So what I propose is just do a quick Zoom video with you, each and every one of you, in the coming weeks, just again, no more than a couple of minutes, about what it's meant to you, what it means to be on a peer network, what advice, if anyone's thinking about joining something like this, because again, it's so much better coming from someone like yourselves who are getting benefit from it, that you can encourage others. And the best we've had so far are those people who think, why would I benefit from being a peer network? Couldn't see anything 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they just said, this has been amazing what I've been through, and preaching to a lot of the unconverted. So great session again today, guys. Keep doing the WhatsApps with one another, keep building out your community. It's so important right now that we keep strong together around that, sharing showing the challenges we've all got. But wow, what some great ideas as well. So well done today. Have a great couple of weeks. Stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
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 See ya.
There we go.
Bye.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Lots to take on there.
Thanks, Neil. That was yeah. I feel like those buggers in front of the dragons now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good though. Right? Thank you.
That you know, again, because we don't have it, you know, in our day to day, we don't have people around us who are gonna or push us or challenge us like that. So that's why these things work so well.
Yeah. Super. Really enjoyed that.
Good for you.
I think I'm talking to you tomorrow, aren't I?
It could well be. I haven't got my diary to hand. Let me have a quick look. Where are we? Tomorrow's Friday?
I think it's Friday between. Is it between?
I haven't got you my
Is
diary.
it next week? Is it?
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, it must be this week. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I say I haven't got you my diary tomorrow. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll catch up soon. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers, Neil.
Bye. Bye.